I don't know if Sharif's been in some of the small caps that have been going, but there have been a few. So congrats to anyone that's been any of those runners.
We're like the big cap show. They're like the small cap show.
Well, I mean, I know that's what he looks at. I guess that's what he's in. So I hope there's been some runners for you, because sometimes when the market goes down, the small cappers can go up. Sharif, Joseph, go get them.
Yes, yes, yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as That Midday Show. That's your boy Joe, and I'm Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to find their way on over from the chat. I love how Adara's already in there with good vibes. Love that. Shout out to Adara. And also, shout out to Satya. She's got her headphones on. She can't hear us, but it is that girl's birthday. So throw up some love for Satya in the chat. I think she's like 21 or something. No, of course she's not. She's 26 or 27. Shout out to her. Let's see what's going on with everybody. Hello, Pitchbull, the beautiful Gabe, Mateus Lane. We got Ranjan, Robert Isaac, and Scott Edwards, Paul Goodson, D-Loaf, Barry. Enjoy the fun with Josie. I love that name. My man, Adam Deluce, gonna see him in a hot minute. Shout out to Adam, Vicky Novak, Shane D, and Day Trader Sky. After the star, and he wants you to know he shorted AMD. So shout out to After the Star. We got Benjamin. We got Icy. It literally is Benjamin. We got Peace, 2 New York Cents, Michael Lewis, Kenneth C, Boot Burner, Ari Pages. Shout out to Brian Rubin and ND Trade. We got Unique Carbon, but Carbon with a K. And shout out to everybody else, Michael Lewis as well. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Can't complain, my man.
Hey,
Got some side charts on there, ready for an options lesson. Get my learn
big
on.
One today, big
yes,
one
sir.
today. Looking forward to that, absolutely.
Anything you want to discuss before we jump into the lesson?
Oh, yeah, I'm just in some K-Web. Actually, I'm not in K-Web. I'm in Yin. So this is a Chinese ADR ETF. Shout out to Wayne for showing me this. I am short, and it looks like I'm about to get squeezed here. But I just want to emphasize on here, when we enter a trade, we get out, and then we get the potential for a better entry, right?
Let's show everybody.
Oh, yeah, I'm not even on it. Yep. Thought I was on that one. Yeah.
All good.
So just pulling this
Take it
up
easy
here.
there.
So I'm about to get stopped out break even, which I am right now, which is okay. But I just want to emphasize on just stopping out of your trades and then getting back in when you're supposed to. So as you can see here, I entered this trade short, didn't get the move that I was wanting to. Then VWAP is my out. I waited for it to phase out again, and then I punch back in, and then you get the partials, and then you stop out break even. It's that simple, Sharif.
I love it, man. All right, I don't have too much to talk about. I was trading HKD today in the sim. Obviously, I'm live now, so we're gonna keep that obviously on watch. There's a lot of small cap gappers to talk about. We're not gonna get into too much right now, because let me tell you, I'm all eyes and ears and every other sensory organ, Joe. I'm ready to hear about this options lesson, baby. So let's get right to it.
Let's dive right into this introduction to options, guys. So we're going to start here with some options. And I know last time we dove right into credit spreads. And you know what? It might have been a little bit much for some. So we're going to take a couple steps back here. And we're going to start from the very beginning and just know what we need to know. Kind of get formal with the language of options and see where we go from there, right? Things get a little bit complicated. There's going to be some different terminology and everything because options is a new language, Sharif. So we're going to absolutely learn those. So introduction to options, part 1. And these are just the things that we're going to be going over. Why people trade options, the capital requirements and the benefits of trading options, what these other big terms in options are, like exercise and assignment, rights and obligations, which can be a little tricky and intimidating for some. So we want to hone in on those. We want to know what we're talking about those. And then there's this other intrinsic, extrinsic value and how we're going to calculate these values, all right? That go with options language, right? So there's a little bit of some complex stuff here, but we're going to try to keep everything as simplistic as possible. And then we're going to take it from there, all right? So slow by slow. So what are options? So they're a financial measure that are instrument that give the owner the right to buy or sell an underlying asset at a fixed price, right? You can trade options on individual stocks, ETFs, and indexes. There are 2 forms of option types. Just like buying and selling stock, you have calls for when you want to go long, and you have puts for when you want to go short, right? These are for long and biased trades. So when buying a call option, you're just looking for the underlying asset to move higher in price. It's the exact same thing as buying shares. So when you buy a put option, it's identical. You just want that asset to move lower. And what happens with that is when you buy a put and the asset moves lower, the value of the contract increases. And the exact same thing for calls. When you buy calls and the asset moves higher, you're not looking, that asset contract will actually grow in value as well, all right? So moving on. So this is just an example of an options chart, what an options contract chart would look like. As you can see, the value of these are slightly different. So this is a long call that expires tomorrow. It is valued at $1.48. Now, if Apple were to trade higher, this contract value would increase, right? So if it went any higher, the contract value can go break the highs, go to $1.80, etc. And it's the exact same thing for the puts. So this is a chart of an options put contract. And as you can see, the value is slightly different. It's not the exact same as the price of Apple, which is around $220-something at the moment. So when this put, you can see the value of this put decrease, well, that would indicate that Apple was moving higher. So in order for this contract to move higher and become more valuable, you want the asset to move lower, and then that's when you'll see the increase of the options contract value. All right, so moving on. So there are common things that options have, right? And these are the three common characteristics that all options have. One, they are a leveraged multiplier, right? So every contract is equal to 100 shares of stock. They all have an expiry date, and every single one has a strike price, all right? So contracts have a fixed price called a strike price in which you want to acquire the underlying asset. So if you want to own Apple at $225, you have the ability to buy an option at $225, whether you're going to be long or short. You can select an expiry date on all options contracts as well, ranging from 0 days, so 0 DTE, that is extremely popular, to multiple years. So that's something that contract option sellers really like, or options buyers, is that you can range on how long you want to own this asset for. Opposed to if you're just buying, selling stock, maybe you're looking longer term or shorter term, you can do the exact same thing with options. All right? So moving forward, so benefits and capital requirements. There are multiple benefits to trading options. Capital requirements, ability to hedge stock positions, and multiple strategies to employ. So one thing with options is it's a little bit different than buying and selling stock, right? So when you buy some shares, you're just looking for the asset to move higher. That's all you can do. There's only one thing. When you're looking to sell shares, you need the asset to move lower, and that's all you can do. But with options, they're a versatile tool. You can do multiple things. You can hedge positions, and you can create different styles of strategies using options contracts, all right? So let's just go over a quick example of why traders like to use options from a capital requirement standpoint, Sharif.
Let's hear it.
As you can see, 100 shares of Apple at $227 cost you $22,700, right? That's a hefty price. Not everybody has that type of capital in their accounts. Fair enough. So, but when we want to buy a $225 call option with an expiry of 1 year away, so you can hold this asset for a year, it literally costs about 10% of that value.
That's crazy.
So a year away, you can own 100 shares of Apple, essentially, for $2,700.90, or $2,700.90, all right? So same thing with the puts. If you're going to sell, if you want to buy some puts, look how much it costs to own 100 shares. If you're bearish on Apple, it costs you about $1,700. So those are some really, really key things on why people like to trade options, all right? So that's a lot of information we just indulged in, so we're going to take a little break. We'll see what's going on with the market. What are you looking at there, Sharif?
I'm in Indo, man, and maybe I'm cruising for a bruising here because last time I definitely did not do that well. Ram, don't. All right. I thought you were going to go a little different with that, Ram, because I've heard it said spun a little differently. You can just forgive my perverted mind there. But yeah, I'm in INDO 440. I'm cognizant of the lower lows, lower highs. It looks awfully bull flaggish to me at the moment, but that's what I thought last time, and I got bamboozled with this, full disclosure. So we're going to give this one the old community college try, and I'm going to be looking to wet my beak in front of that $0.50, knowing full well there are two resistance levels that I need to work with. First, one is coming up awfully closely, 45. We crested out at 45 and rejected, dropped to 15. So you lost 30 pennies quick as you like if you punched in at those highs. That's number one. Number two, we always have a zig and zag at that whole dollar, that $0.50, especially with these small cap gappers. And look at us, ascending into 45, unable to breach it despite the fact or the absence of big boy size waiting at 45. Hence, that tells me there's likely an iceberg on the other side there. So we're going to keep our cool. We're going to keep look updates every 14 days or so. So it has changed, 5.25%. I remember this being a bit higher. Sadly, I do not have the change in the short percentage. I know some software has that. All right, back up to 45, so I'll keep my eye on that. Other ones I'm looking at, that's not the only small cap gapper. There's plenty moving, baby. And we got some holdovers from yesterday. CLOV, another respectable day yesterday. This one was a dang buy program. Every 15-minute candle in the day up until I left yesterday was green on CLOV, as they are now not worried about the SEC investigation anymore. I brought that to you guys earlier today. TIGR, Tiger, not the biggest mover on the day, having a lot of trouble with $9 at the 10 exponential, and has been at that 10 exponential for a hot minute. I mean, you can see we've been zigging and zagging with 9 for a while. EVGO, Ram, I have a dip trade set up over here for that 575. I earmarked resist or support, at 575. We'll see if that steps in or not. It's up 52%. I'll give you some of the details on this one a little bit later, but I'm going to keep my eye on 445 with INDO. And before we see what Joe's trading, Adair's got something for us at the big desk. Get it, Adair.
It's some more details here actually on EVGO, because I had this pulled up right as you were talking. In terms of, if you guys are wondering what the catalyst is, I can give you that information. We did have this morning EVGO announcing that it's received a $1.5 billion conditional commitment for a loan here for the Department of Energy. This would be a loan guarantee to help accelerate the build out of its public fast charging across the U.S. So charging build out here with this Department of Energy loan guarantee. Company also getting an upgrade here to overweight by JP Morgan. This $1.05 billion loan is also notable when you consider that its market cap is only $630 million. So pretty significant loan here. In terms of a float, we have a short float here of 25.9, so basically 26% here. And the total shares around 100 million shares. Again, short float 26% here for EVGO, guys.
Love it. And I want to mention one quick thing, by the way. EVGO gets that upgrade today. Competitor, ChargePoint, downgraded. Oh, surprise, surprise. CHPT, baby. Guys are looking for an counter trend play. CHPT. What are you looking at, Joe?
I'm here looking at TSLL. It's not looking too good. I'm trying to catch a falling knife here, and those usually don't work too good. I mean, Tesla missed on deliveries, but not by much. So the thing is a little bit weak right now. So if we get any buyers to step in here, that'd be really nice. So we're going to look and hold this position here. It is a little bit extended to the downside. So we'll see if we can pull back a little bit here. And then if we do start to pull back, we're going to look for a move into VWAP, and then we'll see what it takes. Goes from there. So other than that, SPY and the Qs are kind of a little bit chopping around right now. So nothing extravagant is going on. We've already done a big move here on NVIDIA. Sean was already cleaning up on that. So as Tesla comes in here a little bit, we're going to continue to hold on to this position. We know where we're going to get out of this trade, right? So if we're wrong around 1186, then I'm going to get out. I'm not going to hold on to this position. As you can see, we already took a little scalp here onto this side on Tesla, and that's my go-to. That's my go-to setup right there, the break of VWAP. We like those there. We had a strong up move. We had a really strong opening drive here on Tesla. So I was just looking for the continuation of the trend. Hey, we weren't a part of this action, but we got a little action in over here. So we're just holding on to that. And we'll see what we'll see what goes on here. I don't like this volume is starting to die down a little bit here on this pullback, but that's okay, Because right now, as of right now, it's starting to work. How about you, Sharif?
I just took the first print, Joe, on Indo. All right, we took that $0.50 break. We're zigging and zagging with the $0.50, knowing full well that the high of the day on INDO is about 15 pennies from here. So what's the move, Sharif? You're going to add, or what are you going to do here? I'm talking to myself like a crazy person. That's all right. I'm going to look to add if it does break the high of the day, because this one's awfully strong. Again, in case you're wondering what this is, it's an Indonesian energy play. Reason we're even talking about energy, I'm sure you guys can all guess, the Middle East. It's in play. Like it or not, that's the fact of life. So we're gonna look to basically, profit off some of this volatility in energy today. We'll be looking to do that. Now, I'm just trying to assess whether or not I want to be able to add on the break of what I perceive to be a bull flag. Okay. So this is obviously on the 1 minute, but it's giving me the same look on the 5. I do like this one, but I am kind of still. I still remember what happened last time, and it bamboozled me. So that's not easily forgotten. I think I'm gonna deal with the shares that I have right now. I'll take it out if it approaches the high of day. I'll take my profits, and then if it wants to break the high of day, we'll look to add some more there. But I also weaseled my way into CLOV. This one was good to me yesterday. Doesn't mean it's gonna be good to me today. Okay, now why'd I get in here? Random area. Not really, not on my charts. It's not. It's a 10 exponential on the 5 on my charts, and that makes an awful amount of sense to me. Why? Because CLOV has been awfully respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 minute all dang day. It has wick below it, very, very quick wicks, but as you can see here on the charts, gets bought up like that. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. By the way, what I'm looking, I just want to make the point real quick here. I see a possible double top at $4. So I'm cognizant of that. I'm looking at DCA into VWAP with the out being the break of 80 because that's where those wicks hold up. But we have Adara at the big desk. Get it, Adara.
Ooh.
Eli Lilly and CVS here. So LLY and CVS on watch here. I just have the Eli Lilly chart up as of right now. It's been a bit of a downtrend. We have the Texas Attorney General suing both these companies, as well as Express Scripts and a couple other major insulin manufacturers, basically alleging here that they have been committing a conspiracy to drive up insulin prices by 1,000%. So Eli Lilly, CVS, and a couple other companies, part of this lawsuit for conspiracy from the Texas Attorney General, guys.
That's crazy. Uh-oh. Yeah, we know that Eli Lilly and some of their key weight loss drugs were going to be up for negotiation this year. Because you know what Medicare and Medicaid's doing down south? They're like, yo, we're paying way too much. We need to negotiate with these drug companies, get some of those prices down. So some of the, down in the States, they have like basically their trademark or their patent only lasts for X amount of years, let's say 10, 15. After that, it goes generic.
Okay.
No, it goes generic unless you change the formulation and you change something about it, right? So other people can come in, make your drug for like a quarter of the price. And so that's what they're doing.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting. No, that's great stuff. Yeah. No, I had a little comment here in the chat. It said,
for it.
So, hey, Joe, make sure you don't mislead people with a little information about buying 100 shares of Apple for $2,700. Well, there's a catch with options, right? You only have the right to own those shares of Apple for $2,700 at $225, or the strike price that we were talking about, for 1 year. So if 1 year Apple is below $225, then that contract is essentially valueless. It's not worth anything. So you can lose the $2,700 in that aspect, all right? So that's just something I really wanted to touch on there because it's such a very important part and it's very valid. So here we are. We're holding on to this TSLL here, Sharif. It doesn't seem to be working. We're starting to pull back a little bit. If it breaks the low, then we're just going to get out. We have no worries. This thing is weak and the market doesn't like to be isn't perceiving how they missed deliveries very well, Sharif, even though it wasn't by much. It was only by a fraction of a percent, about 0.2% or something like that. They didn't miss on very much, but I think the street was looking for something on a bigger beat, something along those lines. So we're going to see what goes on here. If we get any strength within the market, if the Qs or the SPY start to trade a little bit higher, then maybe we'll get some strength within Tesla and we'll catch a bid here and start moving towards the top side. But as of right now, I'm fighting the trend. The market doesn't seem overall strong right now. We're still looming a little bit. and we're just going to hold on to this position. But as of now, we're off to Adara.
We're going to take a look here at some of the S&P 500 names making outsized moves to the upside and the downside so far today in this trading session. Today, there's going to be a bit of a theme as well. We're going to be looking exclusively at continuation plays over the past few days. So first on here is Humana. We know this one initially gapped down about 25% yesterday before recovering about half of that move. Today, getting a downgrade from, maintaining here outperformed from Oppenheimer, though they lowered their price target from $400 to $280. So HUM still feeling the effects from yesterday's move when it actually got a star removed from its Medicare rating. Next up here, we have VLO. This is Valero Energy. We know a lot of these oil and energy names are still in play, as we just had Sharif mentioning here as well with regards to what's going on in the Middle East. Update here as well, which sent a lot of these names a little bit higher. We did have President Biden mentioning today that Israel is potentially considering striking these Iran oil facilities. And last but not least, CCL, Carnival Cruise Lines. This one actually has a couple catalysts to be aware of. It had its earnings on Monday, actually today getting a slight price target increase from Macquarie, but trading lower because a lot of these travel names have been trading lower with regards to what is going on, again, due to the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, some travel-related concerns there. So travel, oil, and Humana Day 2 play and watch here, guys.
Love it. Thank you for that, Adara. I thought the big kahunas were talking to me. All right, guys. EVGO's going, guys. I set up a dip trade on EVGO for 602. It comes right into my level. I don't get filled. This thing is going. Look, I'm looking to defend 6 now, knowing full well that this thing hasn't even breached the 10 exponential on the day yet. What's up?
No, I'm moving your position. No, keep
No, seriously though, Joe. I mean, like we've been awfully respectful of the 10 moving average on the 5 on the day. You got to assume at some point we're going to at least retrace maybe VWAP, maybe 20, maybe the 50. This thing is a dang rocket ship. Obviously, I'm talking, relatively speaking here, 55% up on the day. But look at this, guys. Adara brought this data to you earlier. I'm going to bring it to you again. 26% of the 100 million share float is short or borrowed for short. That's big. Now, again, we need to do some analysis to try to gauge where maybe the majority of the short positions are, and that you have to look at the chart and you have to look at the volume, right? So we've had such a prolonged move down. It wasn't, there is no definable specific level. You could say, oh yeah, the bottom fell out here. No, the shorts could be anywhere. So this is a bit of a tougher chart to analyze to try and gauge where the shorts are. I mean, probably distributed evenly. I don't know. I have no idea. So we're going to keep tabs on this one. I'm looking to get in, though, Joe, at 602 to defend 6, knowing full well that I'm going to have to give it to at least 585 because that's where the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute is, Joe. What do you got?
Yeah, we're still in this TSLA long here. It seems to be working out. We're holding this bottom exactly how we want. So that's really good. So we're going to look for the continuation to the top side. And then we're going to hold on to this position. It's working. We have no reason to get out of the trade, so we're going to continue to hold on to it. If we get any topside move, we're going to look to take some off the top as well, too. So we're just looking at that. We have a really good question. Do I know when IBIT options will become available to trade? I don't know. That is my largest holding in my long-term account. So the minute that IBIT is optionable, I'm going to start selling some calls with the intention of not being assigned on my position, but just to collect a little passive income on the position so that we can collect a little more premium and then eventually buy some more shares. So as you can see, my TSSL is working here. We're gonna take a little bit off the top, which we really like here. Just a small size, just to lock in a little bit here. Now we're essentially risk off, and we're gonna hold to a break even. So if it comes back against me, then we're out at break even. But as of right now, we're taking a little bit off the top, and we like that. Maybe we get this move back to VWAP, which will be absolutely amazing, and then that will be an absolute monster trade on our behalf, and we really like that. But as for the overall market, nothing crazy is going on. We're kind of chopping around in these areas. Let me pull up the SPY here for you guys, and we'll see what the SPY is up to, because it's kind of trading in a range, and that's okay because eventually it's going to move. We got the election looming in about 4 or 5 weeks, I think it is. So maybe we'll get some market movement from that. We do look a little toppy from a daily perspective, and that's okay. a little pullback is absolutely healthy for the market. So when these things are pulling back, maybe look to buy the dip on them as well, because the overall market is strong and we could be in a potential long-time bear run here, Sharif.
You got some questions for you right now, my man. Ooh. Cam the Magnificent. I love that name. Question, Joe. Well, he doesn't say Joe, but it's for you because it's an options question. When applying for options in my brokerage account, do I select covered or uncovered calls, or what tier do I pick? So I remember I had to answer a questionnaire before they allowed me to trade options because you know you have
to have some experience.
You know exactly.
Exactly. I would go with covered, absolutely, because unless you have the capital requirements, then you don't want to be naked. And I'm assuming covered means that you're going to have positions where you're covering them, so you can't just sell naked calls and or puts.
That's awesome. Thank you for that, Joe. All right. What's the situation with this position I'm in right now? We're printing 98s here on Clove. I'm waiting at 99s, knowing full well that the whole dollar is like 1 penny above, and that could be a rejection area. So I'm going to pack my patience with CLOV here. But before I wax poetic more on that, Adaro's got more for us at the big desk.
Watch out here for Helix Energy, HLX. This, we have a lot of energy names moving, but this is actually on its own catalyst here. Bloomberg reporting that Helix Energy Solutions is looking into, quote, explore some options, including a sale. So some strategic conversations here, as reported by Bloomberg, potentially on the horizon for HLX. It's a bit of a small cap name, but $1.74 billion market cap and a short float of about 4.5% for HLX, guys.
This thing just rocketed up, Joe, this HLX stock that Adaro was talking about there. Big volatility. Let's show what Adaro was chatting about there. This is the 5 on Helix. Oh, ooh, baby. Ooh. You got to love that, obviously, right? Just punch in, then you're dropping dollars at a time. So clearly, guys, there's an interesting area of resistance here that could act as support. Look for that 11 2/3 possibly. There was a bit of a top there that formed basically the entire morning until that headline came in. Thank you, Adara, again, for bringing that to our attention. Did not have notice of that. So I'm still waiting here on CLOV. Looks like we rejected 98s. We got to that half point print, I think 38.5, but no print for me on CLOV. And look at this, bro. I mean, come on now. Come down into my, like this actually crossed. That's the thing. It dipped into 602. I didn't get the fill. I'm going to have to chase EVGO. I hate chasing these small cap gapper style stocks, but you know, I mean, it's just going. It's showing you its propensity to go. I tried to get the dip at 6. I was rejected.
Oh, it just missed. It just missed.
It crossed, Joe. Oh my God! It crossed, but I didn't get the fill. That's the way it is.
Hey, that happens sometimes. That happens sometimes. Absolutely. It's fantastic stuff.
I should mention quickly before I send it back to you, INDO is breaking down, but there is this wick here. Keep your eye out on 15, $4.15. We did find support there last time, and look at this. This was a resistance level at 10 o'clock as well, so resistance flips to support. Not saying it's going to do it this time around, but it certainly did it last time. Be cognizant, we're 1 penny away.
Ooh, okay.
What do you got?
Are we off to? Oh, I thought we were off to Adara there. Jeez. Okay. So, anyways, we're still in this Tesla. We're down quite a bit here. This thing is absolutely getting battered, and it doesn't want to pick up any form of bid. So, we're still going to hold on to it. If we break out this level here, and it's been my narrative, then we're going to get out of the trade. This thing has no relative strength. And as a matter of fact, we're going to get out of it right now because it's not really doing what we want it to do. So when things aren't working how we want them to work, then there's no reason to hold on to the trade any longer. We will always look for another trade. But we have a great options question in the chat. And it says, Joe, can you go over open interest on an equity and how it can affect price action? Well, absolutely. That's such a good question because with open interest on options, that can also dictate that, hey, this is where the options buyers and sellers are really interested in the price of the stock. So when you see high levels of open interest, that means that there's something that the market is looking at those specific price levels. So that's really good point to say because open interest is really key and that can determine where future price movement is going to go. So that's an absolute great question. And since we're talking about options, we're going to dive a little bit more into our options presentation here.
I love it.
Briefly. So let's get that started. So we just had some questions on just the DTE and how you can afford 100 shares of Apple for $2,700. Well, there's a catch, and there's always going to be a catch when you get something like this, and that's that the contract only has 354 days of value, right? So you need Apple to increase in order for this contract to be valuable, and same with the puts. So you need the price to decrease in order for this contract to sustain its value. And that's the catch. You only have it for a specific amount of time. All contracts will expire. So yes, you can own them for forever for $2,700 unless you want to exercise your position after, but that's not the point of options. You want to just lock in those gains from what the options contract is giving you and then look forward to the next trade, all right? So I just wanted to touch on that point one more time. So here we are. We're going to go over some examples. And then that's it. So stock XYZ is trading at $200 and you bought the 190 call. You have the right to exercise your call option and allocate XYZ at $190 when it's trading at $200. So that's $10 profit per share, and the options contract will price that in, all right? So you'll have a nice sustainable gain there. And the same thing with the puts. So the stock is trading at $150 at the time of expiry and you sold the 140 call. You are now obligated to sell those shares to the opposite party at a price of $150. All right? So you rarely have to exercise your options. Just close the position before expiry to avoid. Oh, did I skip something here? Maybe I did. Yeah. So we were on to exercise an assignment. Sorry, I kind of jumped ahead of myself there, and that's okay. So we'll just touch back on what everything is. So you rarely have to exercise, or you can rarely get assigned on your positions. So when we are buying an option, we have the right to own the shares at a specific price. And then when we sell an option, we have an obligation to return those shares at a specific said price as well. So that was going on to my example. So just to keep it simple on the exercise and assignment, rights and obligations front, is that these terms might get a little tricky for some people. So we just want to simplify those things. So when you sell an option, you are now obligated, and when you own an option, you now have the right to exercise those. So to just avoid any form of assignment, which can be absolutely intimidating for some people in trading options. I know it was for me, Sharif. I was scared of getting assigned when when I first started selling options. But there's a way. You just close that option. If the trade is not working in your favor, then just close it before that option expires in the money. So I just wanted to touch on this part here real quick with you guys, and just to keep it simple, all right? So we're going to move on to these next complicated terms. They are really important because it's options language, right? So when we talk about these intrinsic and extrinsic values, these things are kind of what sway people away from trading options, but we're just really going to try to simplify things, all right? So the true value of trading options comes from being able to trade shares at the option strike price, not what it's currently trading at, all right? That sounds great.
Bang.
This is where intrinsic and extrinsic value come into play. Fancy terms, but they're not really overly complicated, just simple math equations. So intrinsic value equals you buy an options contract for $5. The same contract is now trading at $15. As simple as it is, that contract has $10 of intrinsic value, Sharif. That's it. Boom. $5, it's just saying like, oh, I'm $10 in the money. It's the exact same thing. Jeez. So
I've heard Katina Man say that before.
That's it. So he's talking about intrinsic value. He's just printing up intrinsic value all the time. So there you go. So extrinsic value is time value. Also kind of correlated with theta. Time value, if you buy the 100 call for $2 and the underlying is trading at $100, this contract is only $200 extrinsically valuable and holds no intrinsic value. Why? Because it's not in the money, and all that it has is time value, all right? So those are the complicated terms that we want. We're going to let those settle in, and then we're going to move right back into the market.
Respect, man. Love that. That's a lot of excellent information. Thank you so much, Joe. All right, guys, update you on a couple of the positions here. We just printed nicely on EVGO, looking to wet my beak on the break of the high of the day. The high of the day currently 30630. I am planning on defending 6. So So you can see that dip trade already set up. Why? Because the 10 exponential and the whole dollar level are there, and I like my chances with that. So we're going to give that one the old college try. I'm very disappointed with how I traded TIGR. I didn't lose much on it, but I had a really good entry and a terrible stop placement. So basically, I should be putting my stop below the previous low. I didn't do that. I placed it below the 10 penny level. That does not make sense. The algos were not respecting 10 penny levels, so I made a mistake there. I would have been nicely in the money on that. I'll tell you about CLOV when we get back from Adara at the big desk.
Beware here of Cassava Sciences, SAVA. We know this one does have a bit of a tendency to move, has moved in the past. And right now, actually, we do have some traders circulating a tweet from about 7 minutes ago from Martin Shkreli. You may know him as the Pharma Bro, tweeting that Cassava Sciences studies should not be halted, saying, quote, clinical trials do not have to be plausible or likely to work. So SAVA on watch with that tweet from Pharma Bro, Martin Shkreli. They do also have a short float of 37.5%. That is worthy to be aware of here, guys, for SAVA.
Thank you very much, Adara. Took the print, baby.
Yep, let's go.
On CLOV, Ram. I want to show it off. Thank you. I'd like to be able to get some more. This girl, bro. This girl's a menace to society, bro.
I didn't see it. I missed it. What'd she do?
Just messes with me. If I want to show the chart, she'll take it off the chart. Just so she lives in my head rent-free. You know what I mean? Like that, she does that. And Adara is wondering why I'm beefing Ram for stuff like this, bro.
Menace. I remember she was trolling me with Blake Griffin the other day too, and she had it faded in the background, so she thought we wouldn't see it, and she faded with the Blake Griffin. So.
She's a troll extraordinaire, man.
What an entry you have on that trade, though. That's absolutely amazing entry.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I punched out. Yeah, and you know what? This is killing me. This is breaking my heart, absolutely. So we got out of TSLA a little bit too early. We had someone in the chat mention like, "Hey, Joe, you could have got a little bit more." I did. And maybe I cut a little bit prematurely, but that's okay. That's part of the game because you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna sit on our hands. We like where the Qs are, so we might switch over to TQQ here, and we might look to join this trend. I mean, if we break up to the top side over VWAP here, then absolutely I want a part of this. So if we continue to this top side, the volume is dwindling, so just always keep in mind, I'm always keeping an eye on the volume here. We are forming a little bit of a higher lows here, which I really like, and a flat top, as Sharif always likes here too. So if we can continue, maybe we get a pullback into VWAP, and then we add into this trend here to the top side. We've consolidated in this area for a pretty long period of time. So the longer the consolidation, the bigger the break can potentially be. So if we start moving to the top side and we sit above 70 here, I'm gonna look to join into this trend. And I'll have my stop right at VWAP. As you can see, we're starting to go a little bit higher. So maybe I will start to join this trend a little bit, but it might pull back and that's okay. So if it does, we're just gonna punch out and then we're gonna punch right back in if it comes back towards VWAP. But as of right now, we're gonna join this position and we're gonna see if we can break any higher there, Sharif.
I don't know what happened to my clove position. Why am I out of the entire thing? Bruh, don't tell me I fat fingered.
Oh, no. That's all right.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, we just took out the entire position at clove by accident there. That was a mistake. No, I need to show the chart here. Thank you. Took it out. Ram, please, chart 398. I took it out there. I was looking at more. I wanted that breakthrough 4. I'm so stupid. Anyway, that's a mistake by me. I'll look to do better. I did really well, though, on EVGO. Just took out the top there for 33s. EVGO is still going, baby. This is a replay of yesterday. This thing is a dang rocket ship, man. Wow, this is a buy program, and I got out too early, and I wanted that add at 6. I didn't get that add at 6, but let me show you guys something. I gave you guys this tidbit yesterday. I'm going to give it to you again. I have an informal way of gauging overbought and oversold conditions on small cap gapper and small cap gapper-like stocks. How far are they, price action wise? Are they extended away from the 10 exponential moving average on the 5? We're starting to get that way with EVGO. So I like my chances here for an upcoming retracement on this name. It's been awfully directional, bruh.
It's still going.
Dude, look at it from yesterday, man. Let me bring this. Where is this? No, that was Clove. My bad.
Head scratch.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. So look, I'll look at I'll look to get back in 610. I'll probably front run the 10 exponential, which right now is at 605. But, you know, sometimes you don't even get a 10 exponential. It comes closer to the 10 exponential. So I'm really disappointed with how I executed on Clove because I definitely wanted for that flat top break. I'm happy with how I executed on EVGO, but I will look to do better. Guys, SMR is curling for the first time on the day, and it is now breaking above the 10 exponential and weaseled its way to the 20. So I'm very interested here if the winds of change want to come in on SMR and it wants to go back to the upside, fantastic. If it wants to do this umbrella pattern that Dara talks about, I'll take it short, baby, off that 12 because we were looking for a deeper retracement north of the 10 exponential. We got one. We got one into the 20. Now the question is, does it weasel its way into 12 and a third where VWAP is, or does it find resistance here at the 20? We'll find out when we get back from Adara at the big desk.
We're going to take a look here at some earnings names. This is our new earnings segment during the midday, around 11:40 a.m. every day, where we take a look at names that either reported earlier or having their day one, or are going to be reporting tonight or tomorrow morning. Right now, of course, we have Levi. This is really the big earnings name from last night, LEVI. Main earnings day one play of today. Still down here about 7%, but beyond that, not a bad look here on the chart. Nice push to the upside, consolidating a bit, though, with lower volume for LEVI. They did report an EPS beat, but a sales miss last night, and they did have a slight miss here for their adjusted EPS guidance for fiscal 2024. Key, though, at this earnings call as well was them mentioning that they were going to be doing a strategic review, considering selling their Dockers brand and looking at potentially the sale of some of their other brands as well. So strategic review on watch here for LEVI. Only one earnings name on watch for tomorrow, day one. It's going to be Apogee, APOG. This name is a bit of a small cap. We got around a $1.5 billion market cap. Short float of about 4.7% for APOG. If there's Levi's, Apogee, any other name you guys want to vote for to get looked at during the afternoon show, just go into that chat, !join, space, $, your ticker of choice, and it could be one of the 5 names covered on the afternoon show, guys.
I like it. Thank you for reminding me, Adara, because I do a really bad job of remembering that. She was always taking care of that. So shout out to Adara. Appreciate you there. Joe, what are you looking at, my man?
Yeah, I'm still in this TQQ, and I did exactly what I said I was going to do. If we get a pull back towards VWAP, then we're going to get out, and then we get a little bit of better entry here, and that gives us a better RVR here, and that's exactly what we want to look for on these trades. We have a great question by Clutch in the chat. Do I keep my initial deposit after I sell the contract? Well, if you sell the contract for a profit, then absolutely. It's just subtracted from the profit that you made. But again, if you sell that contract with little value, you don't get to keep that much money. If you paid $2 and then you sell it back for $1, unfortunately, you took a $100 loss there, my friend. But if you bought that contract for $2 and then you sell it for $3, you get that money back. You have $100 in profit, and that's exactly what we like. And that's what we're doing over here on the TQs. We're looking for this thing to continue to the top side. We're in this position, we cut, we got a little bit better of an entry, and now we're looking to go a little bit higher. If we can continue and break the high a day, then that's absolutely going to be glorious. We have TSLL is slowly grinding back to the top side, and NVIDIA starting to move a little bit higher. So anytime NVIDIA is starting to move higher, we like that for the overall market.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to continue to keep going where everything's going. We like the strength, Sharif, and we're going to keep it. So that's our narrative. We follow the strength. We're pulling back a little bit here. So it's looking like I might have to get out unless we recover, unless this is just a breath for the market. And that's totally fine. Maybe we look for a reload, and then we continue to the top side. So we'll see. We're working. It's working here now, so there's no reason to get ahead of ourselves and cut the position any earlier than what we need to, Sharif.
I don't want to shout out Adam DeLuce, man. He messaged me right at the start of the show. He's like, listen, brother, the future is doing something. It may not be quite ready yet, but it is looking like it wants to go up. And you just saw what Joe just said there. So I want to shout out my man, Adam. Great call there by you, Adam. Now, I'm back in EVGO. I'm looking, I already got in. I got in at 17s. I'm looking to add again if this level wants to breach, but there does seem to be some buying here. There we go. Now we get the add where we got it at 6s. So let's keep our eye out on this one. What I'm looking for is a 10 exponential hold on the 5, ideally as well. The whole dollar holds as well. We're going to have to pack our patience because this is the biggest retracement I would submit to you since, let's see, 925. There were a couple of retracements, 10.10, 10.15 as well. There was also a retracement at 9.50, but I would say notionally and percentage-wise, this one's the biggest of the bunch, meaning that it could breach the 10, right? We're gonna pack our patience. We shall find out there. Now, the other one that I'm looking at, SMR, baby, it's curling back. Now, I was not sure here. I'm like, should I short? Should I be looking to get short at $12? The 20 exponential moving average. You have a bunch of initial support right here, right between $11.90 and $12. So there could be, you could encounter, I should say, some selling in this zone. So I didn't need to be first. What I needed to see was what it was intending on doing.
Beautiful.
So it's a 3-penny spread on a $12 name, Joe, which I don't necessarily love, now tightening up a little bit, but we're going to pack our patience here. I do like the look of this name, but I need to manage, certainly, my EVGO as it's weaseling down into $6. It better hold, baby. But we're gonna give this one a little bit of room because it ran up aggressively, and I like the way this looks. So keep an eye on this one.
Beautiful stuff. We got a $2 super chat. Joe, look at Snow. No problem. We're going to pull that up for you right now, brother, and we're going to see what Snow is up to from an options standpoint, all right? So, hey, I mean, this thing's looking pretty depleted, in my opinion, so I don't know what you're specifically looking for, but you know what we like to do, Sharif?
Yes,
we
sir.
like to join the trend, and we're going to do exactly that. So I don't know if you're buying some puts or some calls, but there's some potential plays here that we can do for you. So we're holding this. If you're looking to go long on buy some calls, absolutely. That's not a bad place to buy a call. I mean, if this thing has any good reports, and if they report soon, which they do in December, a couple months from now, so if they get any flame up under them, they can absolutely hold this level and move to the top side on these calls. If you're looking to buy some puts on it, hey, maybe wait a little bit, wait for this 107 area to break down, and then join the continuation of this overall trend that we have to the downside on Snow. But again, just look at this consolidation phase. If you're looking to play the bottom in a call to the top side, that's an absolutely beautiful play. Just mind it, you have a definitive out, which is also great. So really great look on Snow. We really like that one.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, still keeping my eye on EVGO. You know, for the moment, it's holding 6. We're going to have to keep an eye on it, though, because, you know, it's not your prototypical small cap gapper, but the bamboozlement is fast, real, and furious on these here markets. I'm also long SMR. We're going to give this one 10 pennies. I'm not going to really fret over this one. If it wants to curl back up, fantastic. If it wants to stop me out, I'll take it back short. But it's put a nice little bounce here. It's in no man's land, quite frankly. I was looking for a VWAP retracement. If we continue up here, I'm looking possibly at that $0.25, 12 1/4 thereabouts. That's where VWAP is. I don't expect a huge move from this one, but we're going to give this one the old college try. So that's the look there. What are we doing here with EVGO? We're holding 6, Joe, but you know, we'll see, right? The Bequetter's already out there, big size, showing up here at 12, so we could stop our ascent on our way up vis-a-vis. Oh, baby!
Ooh, let's go.
Oh, baby! All right, now we're moving up a little bit. Let's go.
Let's go.
EVGO.
Yes, sir.
I'm waiting at next up. Bequetter, guys, looking to front run the size at 30. Where am I waiting? 28's kind of a random area. I want to see this hold up, possibly breach the high of the day. Currently sitting at 44s. Going to pack our patience. Joe, what are you looking at,
man? Sharif, we're still in this TQQs trade, and it is absolutely working. The questions in the chat are absolutely flooding in, guys. We're going to do the best we can to answer so many of them. There's such great questions. I'm getting distracted just scrolling through them. I can't even monitor my position completely. So I love it, guys. Keep throwing those questions in the chat. And all session long, we're talking about options. So we have a great question here. Joe, is there any disadvantage to buy a lot of contracts for day trading, 100 contracts expiring the same day? My friend, you like to take big risks, all right? I can tell that already. So just beware, because whatever you buy those contracts for, and if they don't significantly increase in value, then unfortunately, you're going to lose everything that you paid for, because it doesn't have much extrinsic value on it, right? There's no time in its favor. There's no theta. There's nothing that can, once the day is over, once the session is over, unfortunately, those things, they're either really intrinsically valuable or they are not worth anything, all right? So just be really careful on the 0 DTE. I know you want to buy 100 contracts. That's a lot, guys. So just be real careful when you're messing with that type of size, because 0 DTE, you don't have much time in order for those things to work, all right? So just looking over here at the Qs, again, we're just holding on to this position. We're slowly trimming off the top, and that's exactly what we want to do. This is my style of trading. If I'm not in at the right price that I like, then I'm going to get out. And look, we get a better entry, even though it's not much, but even so, your risk to reward is significantly better when you get those better entries after cutting those trades when you're supposed to, all right? So now we get a lot of this off the top. Now we're holding on to about just under half of the position. If it comes back to break even, so be it. That's okay. We're gonna look for another trade, and we're gonna look to see what's showing up next, all right? So guys, keep throwing your questions in the chat. It's absolutely amazing. I love answering them. I love talking options with my good buddy Sharif here, and that's what we're going to do for the rest of the session.
All right, man. My man Jam Locky there in the chat saying, there it goes again. Weed stocks moving. Yes, every single name in my marijuana watch list over here is green, but we're talking low single digits. Give you an example, CGC, we're up almost 3%. Grow Generations up 2.5%. Tilray, decent, 4%. Cron, I love Cron's ticker, so good. 3 3/4. MSauce, 1 1/3. MSOX, 2 1/4. But it's zigging and zagging right now. So there's some greenery there in Weed Rim. Get it, Dara. Thank you. All right, so yeah, we'll keep tabs on that. I'm still in SMR over here. Look, the 20 and the 10 are both pointing up. My stop is a little bit tight on this though. So whether or not I get stopped out, I think it really is going to be a product of my own doing. We're going to talk more about that though. I think Adara's got some stuff for us there at the big desk. Get it, Adara.
Taking a look here in terms of what's happening with some of these cannabis-related names, not seeing any catalysts and actually seeing very sparse amount of social media attention here. It's worth noting, or I'm actually seeing some bearish attention here as well, saying that specifically some of these funds, including MSOS, have some issues. There are some people as well, again, tweeting about this. Apparently, it looks like there's some call options in some of these marijuana names to the upside. So on the theme of options trading, it could be a bit more of a technical catalyst than MSOS, though again, as Sharif and I mentioned here, a little bit more sparsely traded, guys.
Thank you very much, Adara. No, I'll read it out to you. So my main man, Adam DeLuce, has got a question for the options extraordinaire. My man, Joe Dub. Adam asks, if an option expires today, what would you do? Ticker is Joe, going out tonight, call, or is Joe going out tonight, put? My man, you thought this was serious.
I like it. A serious one, but hey, call, because we're going out tonight. You know what? I'm part of the Libra gang too. So
hey,
the boy,
are you?
Yeah, I am.
Air sign gang,
hey,
baby.
That's it, there Libra gang. So that's what we are. The boy turns 32
You're not
on
included.
The 5th. The 5th.
You're October 5th? Dude, that's 2 days.
2 days.
Okay,
2 days. 2 days, yeah.
So Saturday is your birthday.
Saturday is the big one. So, hey, we're going to be out celebrating, so that's going to be a good time. I had some great questions in the chat. I know you've been running credit spreads, but have you ran over a simple example of buying puts and calls? Yeah, we just went over that stuff. So just buying puts and calls and what we do when we buy them, right? And what the value is and the benefits of buying those puts and calls, right? From a capital requirement. We're not going to get right into the complex strategies because this is just introduction. We want to get familiar with these terms. And then for part 2, then we're going to touch on the strategies, the multiple strategies that you can employ, but we're not going to get deeply into them. We just want to know how diverse options are, the language that goes with options. So we're going to keep it really simple, even though there is some complex words in this presentation, but we're going to keep it simple. But now by the end of it, when we go over everything, you now have the fundamentals, you now have the basis of options trading, all right? So that will allow us to continue to move forward in the near future. But guys, as you can see over here on my TQQs trade, we're absolutely buzzing to the top side, and that's exactly what we want here. So again, we punched out, and then we punched right back in, right? As soon as we seen this indecisive signal here, we had some bottoming tail candles here just above VWAP, and I like to see that. That can show me that this was a healthy pullback in the asset, and then it wanted to go higher. And you can see the strength in this candle here as I re-entered, and that's exactly what I want to see, is within this strength, you have a nice strong move to the top side. The top side moves are strong. The pullback in the candles are weaker. That's exactly what you want to see in a trend continuating stock. Sharif.
Bang. Fantastic there, Joe. Looking at, still looking at EVGO here. It's been zigging and zagging with 6. I'm not liking what it's doing right now. It's put in 2 5-minute candle top, both of which are topping tails. It's defended 6, so fantastic. Let's clap for it. But I know, right? I'm just talking out of my, you know what. But that's the look there, man. I don't like this look. The only thing really keeping me optimistic about the trade is the respect for the 10 exponential moving average, but I don't like the look of both of these candles right now. I'm, 2 whole pennies in the money. We're going to have to see if the buyers want to step in here and pamp this one. I'm still waiting near the highs, so it's going to have to do something. Otherwise, I'll get stopped out. SMR. It may look like I chose the wrong way on this one. Now, I don't want to, make that decision too quickly and punch out, but it's having trouble with 12. And now, I'm trying to gauge whether or not it's consolidating or doing a rounded top. And my estimation right now is doing a rounded top. Ooh. Because we put in incrementally lower highs and lower lows on 3 3 5-minute candles so far. So you don't want to place too much emphasis, on 3 or 4 pennies on a $12.50 name, but we'll have to wait and see. I still don't like the way EVGO is setting up at all on these levels. Not my look whatsoever. So I'm going to pack my patience with this one. What are you looking at, Joe?
Hey, we're still looking at the TQs here. So we got a great question from Rob EV. We're talking options today. So that's exactly what we're going to continue to do, like when we follow trends. So do you track volatility when dealing options, like buying when low volatility? So that's actually such a great point that you added on there. So Rob EV, that's exactly right. You want to buy options when volatility is low and then has the potential to increase that, because that will increase your value of the option a lot quicker, the value of the contract a lot faster. And it's the total opposite of when you sell them, right? So you want volatility to be at its peak and on the move down when we sell options, all right? So that's a great question. We really like that. The Qs are starting to pull in a little bit here, and that's okay, because if it comes to our break even, and after that, we're gonna head it to Adara.
Oh, are we going to Adara?
I thought we were going to Adara. I thought that's I thought you singled to me. No. So I'm just gonna keep going on here.
I'm like, how do you hear that? I'm like, I didn't hear it.
No. I thought you said that, right? No. Give me the little nod, and we're gonna head over to Adara. But we got a $2 super chat from Rob Sharma. Any news on Meta flying above 580? Well, let's see. There's no, and see, that's why Adara does what she does. She's on point, and she knows when the news is going to come in. So as of right now, the $2 super chat, there is no news on Meta. It's just doing what it wants to do. But we're going to pull up the chart on it, and we're going to take a look at what Meta is up to. And here we are. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, we're absolutely flying to the top side. This thing is dragging the market higher. What a beautiful move, and this is exactly what we want to see. We have the increase in volume as we increase in price. You see the stagnant volume on the pullback? That indicates that, hey, the stock is just breathing, and then we can potentially move to the top side. So that's exactly what you want to see. Good luck there on Meta. And this is picture-perfect stock movement. This is what you want to see when the stocks are moving and continue to look for, all right? So I'll emphasize it on it one more time. We got the consistent, strong volume moving, increasing as the value of the stock increases, and then we have this leveling volume on the decrease as prices declining, insinuating, hey, maybe we're not going to go that much lower, and then we start to move again. Volume is increasing to the top side and Adara.
Hi, we're going to take a look at the Happening Now 2.0 segment, if you will. This is during the midday. We're going to see what's happened so far today and what's changed since we've last taken a look at these markets a couple hours ago here. S&P 500 continuing to find a great base here in this 15-minute chart, sort of a double bottom here at that 566.50 level for the SPY. Let's see here if we can push even higher, potentially a bit of resistance coming up at around that 570 level that we really struggled to eclipse during yesterday's session. In terms of some updated news, last time here around 10 a.m., we did get some of that economic data. We also had comments from Fed's boss, King Kashkari, supposed to speak at 10:40, though I haven't heard any of that. So it looks like that has not been too market moving as of yet. Some movement in some of these weed stocks, quite a few of these small cap runners moving as well. And we're going to take a look at some names that have been making new moves since we've last seen you. EVGO pushing down now. Shout out to Sharif, who was in this stock, but we did have this push to the upside here on EVGO, announcing here with this $1.05 billion loan commitment from the Department of Energy with regards to this charging build out. We also have VLO and a lot of these energy names. Right now, this one pulling back, but on watch as we get more updates coming from the situation in the Middle East. President Biden saying that from talks in Israel, he's understanding that Israel is discussing or considering striking the Iran oil facilities. So more updates there. Keep an eye on oil, travel, defensive stocks with this ongoing catalyst in mind. And for now, we're going to see Neil at his lesson of the day. Make sure to vote for your tickers of choice, !join, space, $, and your ticker. Take it away, Neil.
Thank you very much, Adara. Lesson of the day here, and it's a bit of a different one. I feel like this is a long time coming. I've kind of always wanted to do it, and today Tesla provided the perfect opportunity to discuss maybe how you go over grading yourself as a trader, right? So like, how did you execute your plan? Every decision you make is something that you have to go back and say, did I make a good one? Did I make a bad one? Right? Or like whether you make money on a trade or not, like sometimes it's about understanding, well, if I make that decision 10 times in the next week or 10 times in the next month, what do I expect my outcomes to be? I think it's really important when you go over. First things, you have to have a bit of a plan of action to do this. Your trades need to be well defined. So you know Tesla 250 was a big deal. So I'm going to go over a few things here. Like I like Tesla. You see Tesla, NVIDIA, Amazon, HIMS. I'll get to that. And then SMR. Tesla, essentially, 2-level was declared short, even 250 failing, look short to pop. So that's a pretty simple thing to be able to grade on. This is an easy one. I mean, this is like a layup, and it's a fail. So the question I ask myself is, did it set up a short off of 250? Now you could make the argument that right away at the open, it was the right decision not to just jump in as it was doing that crazy upward candle. But then you have topping tails, red, weakness in front of 250, lower highs. There were all sorts of opportunities that I could have gone into that one as a fail. I actually ended up taking a trend break and losing on it to the upside. This one I don't have a problem with. The trend that it made underneath VWAP, it held the low. There's a wick bottom, broke the trend line back to the upside, entered, had the local bottom as the stop. So that actually fit a risk parameter that I like. It fit a trade example that I like. But the overall fail is pretty obvious. Now, it would be one thing if I got into that short and then had some botched executions, but this was just a pretty clean miss. It was a good opportunity. It was the top idea. I mean, yesterday, the crazy thing about it is pretty much my entire day was just shorting 250 twice. That's it. A little bit the third time, but 2 times is all you ended up needing. Now, NVIDIA, here we go. NVIDIA, yada, 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 reasons why it doesn't matter. Essentially a 122.50 break. And then that was the key price, also pointing out 118 support level. So looking for 122.50 break, 118 support. Again, a breakout trade is pretty easy. Like, did you take it? Did you trade it well? So I'll grade myself A. You take the break, play it the way I like it. When it breaks this next consolidation up, hold to the next high, which was the 124.5. We held till it broke and failed a break of the 124 even. So part 1, good. Now the rest of it, I'm going to grade fail, because whether or not I end up still up on it, and again, if you do this kind of a move, and then you're scalping in and out, you can't see the executions here unless I zoom out. There you go. If you're scalping in and out, like there's no big hits in there at all, because I'm making sure that I'm keeping it tight to the vest. So I'll stay up, but it's a 0 because at no point did it set up all that well off the 122.5. Like that was the area, like the support was way underneath it. I never really had a good long setup. You finally put in a rounded bottom, and maybe in here, this is where it would have set up for a long off of 122.5, down at 1121. So, that's way in advance where it finally started to set up. I elected to take AMD instead for the same reason that we were taking Tesla. Like AMD had a bit of a trend break, and I like the trend break. It manages to hold on a couple of times, and I'm sitting in that one as it's getting above VWAP. So in terms of NVIDIA, the initial trade and the initial idea, okay, fine. Like that's an A+. You do as well as you can. The re-entry, I'm going to grade a fail because it didn't really set up all that well. So whether I stayed green on it or not, trying the secondary trade of it kind of stunk. Amazon, this is where I have to give it like a B- or like a C or something like that. It's not a complete fail. It's not a complete win. It's something in the middle. Because I think the part of the problem of when you have a trade, and I didn't actually go over, here's the idea on Amazon, testing 183.50 key support, both the support on the trend and daily support as well. So you put up a trend line on the daily chart, it's a support level. You put up a support level on the daily, it's a big one at 183.5. Failing underneath, I said 183 is the reverse under. At the open, so there's never a bid above 183.5 to even look for longs off that support. It was under in the pre-market. It was under at the open. It broke the 83 right away. You have to prioritize on that open trade. Obviously, the first two things on my list were Tesla and NVIDIA. And then SMAR, which was the fourth thing on the list, that triggered right away. So with those trades, you're going to be in it pretty much right off the get-go. And it's difficult to then also want this as it immediately fails the 183. So yes, it did say that I was supposed to short 183 when it failed underneath 183.5 and then breaking down. But the miss of that execution has nothing to do with desire for it. It's just simply I had just got into SMR and I had Tesla and NVIDIA up to be a little bit more heavily involved because I had prioritized them as ideas. So it's right that I didn't take that because it wasn't the highest priority. So it was a bit of a miss. And then I actually followed rule on a continuation trade, which is let it bounce, play the lower high, get in on the lower high, adhere to my stop out, but kind of trade it as is. So I didn't mind that trade. I don't mind taking the consolidation lower when I'm looking for that short. The way I see it, if I'm risking 25 cents to try to get a break of the low of the day, go 1-to-1 and then hold it to the downside, I don't mind those whatsoever. You take a couple of small cuts there. There's really just this miss back underneath 183. And again, I can't even grade that one as poor because this candle and the miss of the 183 was exactly when we had that news about further strikes. So getting that trade was almost not going to happen because you had a news-based event that caused it. So despite the fact that I had 0 for 2 on Amazon, they were in the direction I wanted, or the price I wanted, fitting patterns that I wanted, and then the two misses were ones that I was probably never going to get in the first place. One, because I was prioritizing other trades here, and then two, because this was a news event that there was just no chance I was going to be fast enough unless I chased it all the way down here, $1 underneath the move. So I think sometimes you have to be a little bit more honest with yourselves about what opportunities were there for you. It's easy to say, well, you should have had 183 short here and there. But is that actually true? Was Amazon at the top of my list? If Amazon was at the top of my list, then 100% I should have had that original trade, but it was not. It was Tesla, it was NVIDIA. Now, HIMS and SMR, I'll go to SMR first because that's the easy one. SMR was a 13-10 break. It's easy enough to read. And this is one of those where I don't mind it. I gave it two setups. The first was the clean break, which just never went. Then you've got the VWAP test to the low of the day. It just didn't go. The VWAP test actually did give you a play back into the high. So there's your break, immediate fail. There's your test of the high. It does give you a little bit back in there, and then it absolutely dumps. Loses both previous top and support, and I just get out of the trade. Never intended on reversing, so never did the reverse. It's just a straight up fail, but I can't say I would have traded it any other way. And when you're in something like this, the idea is that it could squeeze and go 50 cents and then $1 for bigger moves to the upside. So you got to be able to give it, that 30, 40 cent hit. So losing trade, but I really don't mind the way that I executed. Could argue maybe that there should have been something in the pre-market on this when I look back, but then again, that wasn't the plan. There was a flat top break in the pre-market that you could have been just taking a 90, but that's getting a little bit nitpicky. And then the last one is HIMS. This is one where it's a pretty easy fail. And I don't have an excuse for why we didn't take HIMS. FDA announced shortages of Zepbound, Mounjaro had ended, so it was trading down heavily, 17 breakdown. This is very similar to what happened in Amazon, where right off the open, okay, fine, I wasn't prioritizing. It tries to break above because it had already broken down. I'm going over my note and I'm putting it out before 8 o'clock, guys. So at the end of the day, I'm not it's above 17 when it happens. The breakdown happens well before we're even on air, and that's way too early for me on a stock that thin. But it fails 17 immediately, and I don't take it because we're focused on other stocks. It then breaks and fails it again. It then breaks and fails it again here. And then while I'm not even really doing anything, it gives a consolidation underneath 17. See, now this is different from Amazon in that at least 2 of those setups are ones that I was not in the middle of something else. I just elected to look at other names in that moment. This is a pretty clean entry for a consolidation underneath that 17. So whether I miss it here to VWAP or miss it there, it gives you the trade to be able to take that short. As a matter of fact, it's giving it to you right here at 11:45 back into VWAP. So the 17 level has been a good fail spot. There were plenty of fantastic trades off of it, but I didn't have them. And I think when you're going over any of your trade ideas, you have to be honest with yourself. The market is perfectly willing to reward you for breaking your rules, and it's perfectly willing to punish you for following your rules. Sometimes you do it exactly as you want and you get this stop out by a penny or 2, but it would have been a huge winner. That's fine. Then understand that you have to grade that respectively. You made good decisions. It just didn't happen to work out, but you take that 10 times out of 10. And likewise, if you make a bad call or you just get stubborn with a trade and it happens to work out for you, but your executions are terrible, then you've got to grade yourself respectively there. So first of all, you got to have a plan of action, something that you can at least define so that you're reasonable with the way in which you're grading your trading. And then after that, when you do your review, if you do it usually after market or maybe the next morning before the market opens, you're honest with yourself. Could you have actually had that fill if you didn't take the trade? Did you have a really good reason for not taking the trade? Just be honest. Don't just say, oh, I didn't take the trade I wanted. I should have had it. No, it's not that simple. A lot of times, you probably would have never had it based on a news event, could have come in, you wouldn't have got a fill, or you were looking at something else that you prioritized higher. I think it's very important that traders are honest with themselves and have people around them when they talk about trading that will keep it real with them instead of just, you don't want yes men sitting around with you, because if you have that, you're never really going to be able to improve your trading. So shout out to everyone in the community that does help each other out there. Your lesson of the day, how to properly grade yourself in your trade executions of your plan.
Thank you very much, Neil. Informative, eloquent, and just all around awesome as always. Neil Roberts every day around that noon hour. Catch Neil's lesson of the day. We did get a super chat for you, Joe. $4.99. It's from, I don't know who it's from. Adair threw it in the chat. Maybe I'm just reading it wrong. It's about NFLX, though. Can you check NFLX options? Netflix options. I used to make $200 a day, and now the last few weeks I can barely pull in 20 or 40 bucks on NFLX. Does that have to do with the premiums, or what's the situation?
You know what? It may not have to be with the premium, Sharif. We know how trading is. One thing works one day, one thing doesn't work the next day. So just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, if those losses are exactly that small, losing 20, 30 bucks, you can't make that much. But if you're making 200 bucks a day, hey, keep doing what you're doing. Not everything works all the time, unfortunately, with trading, and that's just the way it goes. I'm looking over here at Netflix for you right now. I mean, hey, the volume is sustained. We're continuing to the top side. These guys own the market, essentially, right? So anytime you're looking to watch some TV online, these guys are absolutely, they own the market in streaming. So they're up there. So keep buying those calls or keep selling those puts. Well, I wouldn't sell the puts against Netflix, in my opinion. But if you're buying calls, hey, the system isn't working right now. Stick to it. Sometimes things don't work all the time. Just refine it. See what you can do to improve. And then maybe the next time you go to buy some options, you'll definitely be able to become profitable on that. So we also have another great question. So Joe from Mo. Joe, would you play an option strategy on low float runners with a view for it to dump? Mo, that's a great question. The thing is, unfortunately, not all stocks are optionable. So first thing you would want to do is to see if that stock is optionable. Especially some low floats, they may not be optionable. And I took a little look at the chart here, and it was absolutely buzzing. So, hey, there's some volatility there, so increased premiums. It's a low float, so if you're looking to play something, be definitive on the strategy that you want to do. Don't fight the trend. Maybe it's a little overextended. There might be a lot of things that you might need to put in conjunction in order for you to put on a trade. But first things first, make sure that stock is optionable.
Man,
right?
that is some sound advice there, Joe. But I also want to, can I throw one more at you?
Absolutely. Send them my way.
So TX Jet Fan, he's been putting this a lot, so I really want to cover this, and it's a good question. Joseph, can I get some looks on KMI? Broke an 8-year high, took all the time monthly and weekly.
Kinder Morgan. Whoa.
Yeah, not that I know too much about that. Yeah, have a look.
Okay, so let's get some looks. Hey, what a big breakout there. That's absolutely stunning. You got the volume as well. So that's a great, and we might have a catalyst under this thing. Here's why Kinder Morgan, let's see why we're running.
KMI? Sure, let's have a look.
KMI, well-known in the stream. What's
we got
favoring
today?
Kinder Morgan? Operating
It got
extensive
an
network
upgrade.
of pipelines spanning 97,000 or 79,000 miles, transporting natural gas. So hey, if this stock is breaking out and you want to buy some calls on this, that's an absolute yes on my part, right? Because you're joining the trend, you're not fighting anything. Is it a little extended over here? We don't know what the market's going to price in for this type of fundamental catalyst, because this can add a lot to the company, right? So we're going to look. That's a great look. KMI, if you were in a position and you bought some calls on that, good look on you, and way to trade that, absolutely.
All right, I'm back in EVGO. Where am I? 87s, wet my beak at high 90s. Looking to take some more out if we can break and hold above 6. Since we gave up the ghost on 6 on EVGO, it's been a tough road to hoe, but get back above 6. And as you can see, we've been wicking, doing the wick shimmy at that $6 area, but it did round bottom. But it could be the umbrella pattern that Adara always talks about. And that could be, a negative catalyst. Get it, Adara? By the way, Adara is still, tape reading and doing a whole bunch of stuff up there. Today, she was telling me about the 30-penny level on Tesla.
Yeah, she was ready to pounce on
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Look, Adara, I mean, I haven't been able to give you a nickname since you stopped trading ranges. So I don't know. We'll discuss it off camera. But I got a new nickname for you. I don't want to say it out loud because you may not like it. So I got to check with you first, and then we'll get back. But I find it flattering. I find it flattering. Shout out to Adara, man. Always killing it. Absolutely. All right, guys, I wet my beak, like I said, there on some profits, but we are having certainly trouble with $6 holding it on a closing basis. So I'm going to be very cognizant of this trade. I'm also back in CLOV. Why? Because we've been holding above the volume weighted average price. A whole lot of noise right now. I'm sorry. So what I'm looking at doing is DCAing to defend that volume weighted average price. The last time we even touched VWAP was 10.20 this morning. I like my chances possibly for a quick bounce. I'm in it at 91s. We're printing 91s right now on the ask. Again, I probably will need to move up my dollar cost average to reflect the new position of the volume weighted average price, as it's a dynamic level. So I'm going to move it up just a skosh, possibly to take advantage of that. But CLOV has been a rocket ship as of late, whether or not I DCA, an entirely different story. Keeping my eye on Tiger as well, but that ain't the move. This is the trouble here. EVGO showing 2s now on the ask. Can we move up a little bit more? 2s where we've been rejecting. I'm waiting at 8 over here. It's up 53%. Let's put some dang respect on this one's name, but it had a big boy move earlier, Joe, so it stands to reason we get a bit of a pullback.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Totally reasonable. And just to touch on ships, Sharif, what do you think about this union strike here, the dock workers strike?
That's a tough one, bro.
Hey,
that's a tough one. Yeah, that's the thing is, remember we just had the same thing with the Canadian rail operators here. The government had to get involved. Trudeau had to flex. You know what I mean?
Get back to that one video with Buddy, he wasn't having it at all. I mean, hey, I think this dock workers strike is not good for Jerome Powell's battle against inflation.
No, bro.
I mean, what are they saying? We're losing like $4 billion a day,
and that NFPs. Think about the NFPs the NFP print we're going to get before the election. It's going to come out November 1st, literally for October. We're talking about Helene decimating some jobs. We're talking about these workers, obviously the strike having an issue on some of these industries. So we could get an ugly NFP print right before the election.
And I mean, the longer that this strike is prolonged, the worse it is going to be for upcoming CPI prints and stuff like that, right? Because things are going to start increasing in price. And that's not exactly what we want. So if you're Jerome Powell, you want the dock workers absolutely back to work as soon as you can so that he doesn't have to battle this war with inflation much longer. And he's been doing a pretty good job, I think. So he gets some heat here and there, but that's okay. It comes with the job and everything like that. So good on JP. He's been doing a fantastic job, but he needs to get these dock workers back to work. Otherwise, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble.
Well, exactly. I mean, he doesn't obviously have a hand, but the Biden is like, look, he's on the side of the workers. Whichever side you guys fall on, whether you're pro-union or pro or whatever, the point is we want to keep the economy moving. And how can we trade it? I think that's what you guys care most about. How can we trade these? I'll submit to you there's an NFP trade to be had by early November. I think it's November 1st. Brendo and I were looking at it this morning about when NFPs for October comes out. Of course, we have NFPs tomorrow, non-farm payrolls for September. So make sure you're with us. 8:30 a.m. We're going to have that data for you super quick there. All right, guys, still in CLOV, trying to see whether or not this wants to give me that dollar cost average. I no longer like my entry at 86s. I'm now going to move it up to 88s because that is where I like the level. So we're going to go ahead and put an order there for 88. So we're going to set it up there, and let's have a quick look here. We're still having a problem with 6. This is trouble. This is trouble, seriously. So I could get out here for a 10-penny winner. Guys, by the way, the position board is not working. No, I don't look Ram. I don't make it. I don't make stuff up. I mean, it's disappeared, Ram. She's disappointed. Like, she got mad at me. Like I'm the one that did it. Oh, okay. The Chilean Nightmare letting me know what's going on there. Appreciate you, Fabian. We'll get that up quick, super quick. Look, Joe. How much shareage do I have here on EVGO? Yeah. No, we don't have enough to wet our beak again, so that's all right. So we're just going to hold it there. What are you looking at, my man?
I'm looking over here at Meta. So whoever mentioned Meta earlier, we really like this, right? This stock is absolutely strong, and we're starting to consolidate at a top. If we hold this level around 580s, we're going to look to join this trend. And as it starts to break higher, this is exactly what I want to see. So I'm going to look to join this trend on Meta. It is consolidating a little bit, so maybe we'll pack our patience and hold our horses a little bit because it didn't go yet. And if it breaks down, hey, that's okay. But Sharif, I wanted to mention one thing. Kanye East, can you wish my sister a happy birthday? His sister Salty a happy birthday. All right, I just told her to tune in. Happy birthday. We got birthdays left, right, and center.
Yeah.
It's Sateas, it's Libra season, so we're really enjoying that. All right, guys.
I love it.
But yeah, we're just looking over here at Meta. We're gonna look to join this trend here. The overall market is starting to pull back a little bit. The Qs and SPY, they're still hovering around that 5-minute opening range, right? So we'll see what's going on with that. The SPY is a little bit lagging the Qs. It's not as strong. They're up 0.1% and the Qs up 0.17%, so that's good. We're going to look to join in on Meta right here because it's doing exactly what we want. A little slow on the trigger, but that's okay because if we break to the top side, then hey, we're gonna be in this trend, and that's exactly what we want. You hear Obi say it all the time. The trend is our friend. So we don't want to fight this. We're in Meta. We're going to see if Meta can make a new high a day. That's a great question. What is driving this thing? This thing is, hey, Katina.
Get it, Katina, man. Katina, man, push up Meta, bro. Push up the stock. There you go.
Meta, yeah. Only higher. Yeah, right there. Up. We're going up. So that's exactly what we want to do. Guys, we're talking options. Oh, whoa, hold on. We got a super chat. So I'm going to pause that. Thanks for answering about my Netflix. I usually scalp with calls and puts, but because it goes $10 daily, I'll keep it at it. I'll keep at it, prop switch to paper to tweak. Absolutely. When you're tweaking a system, that's such a good point. I'm glad that you said that. When you're working on a new system and you're refining it, yeah, you need to be live and working on these things, but you also want to build data and sample sets when you're new in paper trading. So that's a great point. We really like that one. And guys, we're talking options all day. Throw the questions in the chat. Intro to options, options for beginners. We're going over specific terms, so that's going to lead us into something that's more complex. And by the end of this, by the time that we're done, you're going to find a strategy that works exactly for you. And the strategy that I'm talking about right now, meta going to the top side, is not really working. So as always, we have definitive outs. We're not in this can we pull up my chart there? We're not in this for too long. If we break and we get a candle to open up a low here, then we're just gonna punch out of the trade. There's no point in holding on to it if it's not working. If our thesis doesn't play out, hey, maybe it chops around a little bit more before it decides to take another topside move, and that's totally fine. What are you looking at, Sharif?
I'm looking at EVGO doing exactly what I thought it'd do. The wick shimmy at 6 means a rejection, but most importantly, it is still well above the volume weighted average price, which is sitting at 565. I'm looking to front run it. I have very little size left, so I can allow this to come and even go negative on it. Just to let you guys know, EVGO, my entry is 87s. We're printing 89s, but I'm absolutely fine with that. As you can see, I've got my dollar cost average to take advantage of the volume weighted average price area. Should tell you that last time we did find our footing at exactly 75 pennies, so we know we have a key area of support there. Why is that important? Because I've got a a dollar cost average at 70. So if we don't get to 70, then I need to move up my DCA to reflect the previous area of support at 75s. We shall see what we get there. Now let's look at CLOV. Break even on this one. I know the position board will update once I take a fill on one of these, likewise with Joe. Thanks, Fabian, for getting that up and running. The Chilate Nightmare always doing the absolute most in a fantastic way. So the reason I'm still in Clove and the reason that you're seeing a DCA on my chart there is, again, because we're holding VWAP. So these have been very strong names. They've been awfully directional. Clove looking less directional today, certainly, than it did yesterday, but it doesn't mean it's not tradable as a breakout trade. Let me submit to you my case. Now, I have a trade called the VWAP hold high of daybreak. By the way, guys, DJT is going into highs, okay? So Donald John Trump is running. Now, I have a trade called VWAP hold high of daybreak. What is that? It's when we get a directional move, typically on a small cap gapper. It doesn't always have to be that way, though. And then we get that big move initially in the liquid time of the day. Then in the midday, when the volume drops off, we need to see a VWAP hold, meaning that the price action has to be at or above VWAP. It can zig and zag, but not breaking highs. So essentially, that's what we're doing here on Clove. And I like this because I don't mind building my position near VWAP for either a high of day test in the more liquid time of the day when the big kahunas come back on that 230, or even sometimes before that. You know, it's not a hard and fast rule that the high of day break has to come in power hour. So I'm going to look to basically build my position on CLOV to take advantage of VWAP, come what may. Okay, so that's a look there. Now we have to load up Donald John Dang Trump because it is going here. Here we go. So now we're knocking on the door of that 50 penny level. We're up 4 1/3. The volume's increasing. The volume is doing a rounded bottom. Means we're moving up nicely here, Joe. We just broke the $0.50. What's your look on DJT?
Hey, I'm loving DJT right now. I'm gonna pull DJT up myself, because this thing is absolutely buzzing to the top side. And when we get an influx in volume, we really like that, right? So as we go higher and higher and higher, if we get any breath in the market, Sharif, guess what?
Sir.
I might even join in on this thing.
I love it, Joe.
Let's go. That's what we do. We follow trends. We like following trends. We like going where the volume is. Look at the L2. Sharif was talking about this all week. Look how much more strength is on the ask. So that means there can be more aggressive sellers going higher and higher in price, and that's exactly what we want to look for when we're looking in strong stocks. We don't know why DJT is buzzing, but it's buzzing. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's moving higher, then that's exactly what we like. So any form of breath in DJT, then we're going to take it. We're holding this level here, and we've absolutely broke the top side of this flat top. So look, the stock is strong. Don't fight it. Why it's strong, we don't know. So other than that, just keep going with the flow. So
Thanks, Neil.
we're going to pull up the TQs. We're going to look at the Qs and see what the overall market is doing here. So as we look at the Qs, hey, we're kind of just chopping around here. There's nothing crazy, and we don't have any extreme events going on for today. So this is totally reasonable. One thing for me is that these Qs are a little bit lagging the SPY, right? So we're a little bit behind. So look for some strength to pull up in tech eventually, especially with earnings coming up in the next month or so. So if those earnings reports keep coming up really strong, then look for the Qs to make an absolute new high. Other than that, we're just holding it. We're still in meta. We're holding our meta position, and it's exactly holding that 580 level. Well, it actually just broke a little bit. And if the Qs continue to the downside, then we might have to get out of this meta trade. It is a little bit extended to the top side, up 1.35%, which isn't overly a lot, but this stock has been so strong. It's been putting in green day after green day. And look for these things to take a breath. Unfortunately, we can't just go up all the time, Sharif. Otherwise,
It'd be good, bro.
It'd be a lot. It'd be a lot easier. I think it's one of the Korean markets where they eliminate short selling. Is it the Korean market?
The Chinese market cut it off for a little bit.
So the Chinese market did it too. So hey, they get to choose when you can short sell or not. So that might make things a little bit easier. Maybe we head over to the Asian markets. And
bro.
Trade them.
It'd be good times.
So yeah, we might have fun with that. But other than that, guys, keep sending stuff in the chat. Keep sending your options questions in the chat, and let us know what you're looking at. Right? I love the shout out on Meta, and we really like that, Sharif.
All right, we have Adara at the green screen. What do you got for us, Adara?
We have our afternoon edition here, or midday edition, if you will, of the small cap recap. We have IWM making a beautiful V-shaped recovery here, though it looks like it's having a little bit of trouble here at that double top area around 216.70. So let's see how the Russell 2000 fares from this point forward. In terms of individual names to keep an eye on, what I wanted to do was take a look at names that reflect general catalyst moves, or again, names that have just kind of been running the theme today for these small caps is going to be energy. We have Indo, INDO. This one is a repeat runner for INDO. It is definitely one of those names that has run in the past pretty frequently, around a 5% short float. Also on watch here, we have, this is Indo. We had this, I'm struggling to see here. We also had this name here as well. Another energy play here. I will apologize once I get back there. And then last but not least, we have EVGO as well. This name, Sharif has been involved in this name throughout the day. EVGO receiving a $1.05 billion conditional commitment here from the Department of Energy for a loan with regards to his charging. So another name in the related energy space, getting an upgrade to overweight here from JP Morgan with a $7 price target, guys.
Thank you very much, Adara. I should let everybody know that Ram wants everybody to be quiet. We're making too much noise on the set. She's disappointed, and she's letting me let you guys know. So I don't know who I'm telling, but Ram wanted me to pass along that message. Guys, I punched in a new position here, TIGR. I'm 0 for 1 on this one. Ram, if I could show the chart. Why? Because this one held VWAP real well at 856, but the problem is I really waited a long time to get into this one, and now I'm a little unsure about whether this one curls back in. I'm looking to front run the out in front of 9, knowing that it could meet a wall of selling at that whole dollar level. We're going to pack our patience and see what we get, and we won't get upset. So the two other trades that I'm in that I've been talking about all day, I'm break even right now on Clove, but I already wet my beak on some profits. That's why I wasn't taking it out. When it popped up, I'm looking to add on CLOV at 88. Now, I'm seeing a bit of a different look here on the 5-minute chart, which is concerning me a little bit. What is that concern? We're putting in what could be a flat bottom break. Why? We have obviously a level of support at 90. We do that over here with this hammer candle. 1205. We bounce off 90. 1215. We bounce off 90. 1220. You see where I'm going with this? We bounce off 90. 25. We bounce off 90. 30. All with lower highs, with the same flat bottom. So this is a descending wedge. Usually we get a flat bottom break. It is not a hard and fast rule, but it is more likely than not. So that is what I'm concerned about, especially with my DCA being at VWAP. I need to be cognizant that the bottom could absolutely drop off. They turn off those buy programs. They don't stay on forever, baby. And when they do, the shorts and the algos take advantage. Shout out to my man Adam DeLuce, who was teaching me up a storm about algos the other day. A lot of good information there. So I'm very aware of what that is doing, and I am a little bit concerned, okay? So that's what we're doing there. We're going to keep an eye out on that one. The stop is already in place. Tiger, I'm looking for this one to curl possibly into around $9. The profit taker is already there. Anticipating resistance at said $9 area. We're going to keep an eye out on that one. And then EVGO. I mean, I don't have much left on this one, so I'm absolutely fine with this one coming into my DCA, which is 20 pennies from where we're at now. I'm willing to wait there because VWAP is a hell of a level on EVGO. So I've only got baby shares left. Might as well hold them, go in the negative a little bit. I'm fine with that. I don't need to get rid of them in case it, pumps back up. I'm willing to add at VWAP, which right now on my chart is 65s. I'm front running it obviously by having my DCA at 70s, which I'm fine with. So we're going to pack our patience to see if we can get or extract any profits at a said names. Now here we go on TIGR. So it looks like we're being met with some resistance here at 90 pennies. It's a couple of times now that we've here's 90 again. Can we show 91s? I need to see it. Prove it to me, baby. We're not getting any 91s on the tape. We are getting 90s though on the tape. So let's see if we can cross a little bit. Maybe even get some mid prints. No mid prints yet. Only mid prints in the 89s right now. Mid prints, guys, are you going to be able to see a decimal? Well, not a decimal, but you'll see a third or fourth number after the second. So see here, for example, 89.76, right? So we are rejecting right now off 90. So I'm looking to see whether the top can come off. And oh boy, Clove just tanked. So I'm gonna have to keep my eye on this one. What are my 91s? We got 78s. If this breaks 74s, that's where my stop is. I'm gone on this one. Let me set up for this one, Joe. What are you looking at?
Hey, we're here. We're gonna enter in some TQQs. We like it around VWAP here. We're back into meta. I mean, NVIDIA's slightly pulling back a little bit, and that's okay. So if there's some weakness in the mega caps, then maybe we might be on the wrong side of this trade. But until then, we got meta moving to the top side, and that's all right. So with that, we're going to follow into the Qs, all right? So we're going to keep into this trade. We're in exactly where we want to be. Whether it works or not, only time will tell. So we're going to hold on to these positions, and we're going to see what's going on from there. As you can see from a trend line standpoint, we've put in a potential low here, right? So we got a higher low and we continue to the top side. So with a good healthy pullback, even though the volume did pick up a little bit on the pullback, that's okay. We're in exactly where we want to be, and that's exactly where you're going to keep your RVR and your system in play, right? You're gonna get in where you want to, and you're going to get out where you're supposed to, all right? Whether they work out or not, only time will tell, and that's part of the game. You can't always be 100 for 100 all the time. So that's just how stock trading is, right? So we already had a really nice trade here on the TQs and on another one on TSLA. So we like that, right? So we're going to continue with the trend. If we can continue with the trend to the top side, then, hey, by all means, we're going to join it. And that's what we really like to do. So, Sharif.
This thing is jokes, bro. This thing is this is why I didn't get out. This is literally why I didn't get out, because I knew the bamboozlement was going to come fast and furious.
Printing up an absolute storm over there.
Not even. But I was anticipating that this exact thing would happen right now, Joe, which was we would get a specialist breakdown. I've talked so much about this. I want to do a lesson on this. A specialist breakdown, a specialist breakout. That's when it's pushed only to resume in the direction of the trend. This is what I'm talking about right here. Right back up we go. Look, I'm just going to hold on to it. I'm break even on it at the moment. I'd rather just risk it, quite frankly. All right, we're printing, baby. We just got the print on Tiger, my man. Happy with this trade. So I'm 1 for 1 on this one right now, but I'm holding a bit of a bigger position. Now, what I'm looking for is a 9 break and take. I want to see a weasel back up into that 9 1/4. I may or may not get it. You're not going to see me DCA on this one unless it comes back into VWAP. It's shown its propensity to disrespect the moving averages today, but obviously it is respecting VWAP. So I need to see what's jiving with this one on the day. And today, my humble estimation is that VWAP is what's in play with TIGR. Nice. So now I'm going to look to set up, let's go Let's go 11s, Joe. 11s was a lucky number for me multiple times, so we're just gonna, you know, give it the old community college try, and we're gonna hang out up here on this one. Back to CLOV, still break even on this one, nothing doing, but if it breaks $0.75 of a dollar, cutting it. Not going to hold it more than that, Joe.
Sharif, I must say the boys are eating up a fajita storm in the back. So it was fajitas for lunch. They're loving fajitas. We're liking the TQs here as it continues to move a little bit higher. And that's what we like. We want to see those types of things, all right? So as we can see with the overall market, we're not really doing anything overly spectacular, but we're going to hold on to these positions. Meta is still kind of consolidating in this area, so I'm going to pull up Meta for you guys. And the longer it consolidates, hey, the bigger the move is going to be. So if we're on the right side of this trade, only time will tell. So as we're sitting here waiting for Meta to work a little bit, it might pull back a little bit because it is extremely extended to the top side. Really strong move, really strong up thrust with really good volume, up 1.36%. We really like that. So, hey, we're just going to continue to do what we do. If we break this low, then we're going to punch out the trade. Guys, we got a super chat. Guys, what's the technical analysis on INDO? All right,
baby.
Let's pull it. INDO. Let's pull this up here. Oh, okay. I'm really liking this so far.
I like it, Joe. I like it. Anytime anybody likes these small cap gappers,
Hey,
they're aces in my book,
hey,
baby.
this is Sharif all day, the king of the small caps, all right? This thing is absolutely buzzing. Look at the influx of volume over the past couple of days. Guys, I'm going to always emphasize on the correlation of volume and price. This is exactly what I'm looking for, and I really like this. So from a technical standpoint, Sharif, look,
Yes,
we
sir.
held $2 to the penny multiple times and then decided to break out on what? We had some potential news. What's going on with Indonesia energy shares on Monday? Let's find out.
Yeah.
Hezbollah said Hassan. So again, it's some Middle East stuff that
that's what it is.
right. So they got some energy. They're selling oil to who knows who now. So they're really moving to the top side. Sharif, would you look at this one? How would you look at it?
I traded it, Joe.
Oh, you did?
It made its way onto my my coveted
to the
side chart.
small cap
baby.
gappers. So yeah, from a technical standpoint, if you're looking to go long or excuse me, if you're looking to buy some calls, then hey, you're in the right stock. I wouldn't fight the trend. Don't fight the trend. Continue with the way it's going, and that's it. So good luck on INDO, guys. And guess what? Meta have broke our level, so we're going to punch out of Meta. We're not going to hold on to this any longer, and it might look like the TQs are coming against us as well, and that's okay, because you know what? We're probably going to find another entry. If we can hold this 68 area on the TQs, then maybe, hey, we find another possible spot to enter, Sharif.
Respect that, sir. Okay. So here's the look on that big boy flush that came in here on CLOV. So, you know, obviously the only thing I'm lamenting here is not having added at these levels, but there's no way for me to know that it was going to be a specialist breakdown and not an actual retracement. So that's the only thing I'm really upset with right now, not having taken the opportunity to add at those levels. But we're going to look to see if we can hold above VWAP. Now, we're having issues with 90. We're weaseling up into 90, and 90's acting as a roadblock. Are you surprised by that, though? I'm not. Why? Because we held, I just yelled about this for, I think, 10 minutes or so. 90 had been holding as a level of support with incrementally lower highs. So we were talking about that. Flat bottom break. And it came in spades, baby, but it got bought up. So now we're involved. So now what are we going to do here? We're going to look to basically see if we can hold above VWAP and we can break and take above this 90. 90 is a resistance level. I won't be convinced otherwise. And right now there's big boy size, relatively speaking, of course, waiting on the level 2 at 90. We're unable to ascend above 90 because of the big boy selling there. So we're going to keep an eye out on that. All right, we're showing 91s now. Can we cross on the bid? We've crossed on the ask, but we haven't moved up on the bid. So we're eating some of the size there that you see on 91s, but that means that more can come in. It doesn't mean that, you know, we're just going to be stagnant that way. So I'm keeping an eye on that, looking at taking out some profits in the mid-90s to account for that latest pump. Now, what's the look with TIGR? It dipped down into my entry, and then got bought right back up. I'm still going to pack my patience with TIGR. I'd like to see a break and take above 9. We definitely rejected 9 last time. Let's see if we can do it again. How about this one? EVGO, we're still involved, but this is baby shares, and I really mean baby shares. So I'm going to hold whatever I've got, and I'm looking at dollar cost averaging into 70 on EVGO to take advantage of that VWAP retracement should it come in, Joe. So I'm really happy right now with this trade, and we got the print on Clove, bro. I thought the bottom was coming off here. I'm like, oh no, we're going to get rinsed again like we got rinsed a couple of days ago when Adam was here, this, that, and the other.
It's a new day, and today you're printing up a storm. So
better than yesterday was good, today's good.
I heard you guys were killing it yesterday.
Did all right yesterday.
Yeah,
Did all right
that's
yesterday.
Good. That's good.
Appreciate you
That's
there.
what
are you looking at, my man?
Hey, we just got out of the TQQs, and look exactly why we got out of the TQQs. So if you see my chart here, then this is why we get out. Like, look how much more of a loss I would have had to take if I kept holding on to this position. I don't want to hold on to losers, right? And we're going to touch on Meta. Like, look what Meta's doing before we, just after we got out. This is why it's key to just get out of your positions, guys, when you're supposed to. Just keep it simple. We don't want to complicate this stuff. We already know how complicated trading can be. Sharif, we're talking about intrinsic and extrinsic value, risk and assignment. Like, these terms are complicated, so we don't want to add any more complication to our day.
I feel
because
you.
we're absolutely killing it on every side. So what we're going to do is we're going to touch up back onto our options presentation, introduction for options, guys. And we're going to kill the last of the presentation, all right? So things that we've already went over, guys, we're just going to touch back. Is we now know why we want to trade options, right? The capital requirements, the flexibility of being able to create multiple strategies with options, risk and assignment, what obligations and rights are, which are really big, intrinsic and extrinsic value, all right? So we know that these are the, what makes options valuable, right? So is the intrinsic and extrinsic value. So for me, being a credit spread trader, I sell credit spreads, so that makes everything extrinsically valued. Those trades have no intrinsic value, so time value is what we're working on. And then before we touch on any more, we're going straight to Adara.
Just a quick update here. We do have the futures pulling to the downside. If you see here, I have the TQQs up, but I'll pull up the Qs. A little bit of a volume increase there to the downside for the markets as right now. As you can see, we pushed kind of below into this 481 level on the Qs and the NASDAQ futures here. It's worth noting, again, not seeing any news on this, though there is CNBC here posting a couple of articles and videos here about the ongoing impacts of the port and dock workers strike. That's actually, though, a few minutes ago, so that is not like coming out right this second. If I see anything new, I will let you guys know.
Hey, and we're back. Yeah, great stuff, Adara. Thank you very much. We much appreciate it. So yeah, guys, just back into the options talk. We've gone through a lot of stuff, a lot of complicated stuff, and that's okay because now we're all going to be up to speed. And when we're all up to speed, we can now move forward together as a unit. So guys, if you have any questions on risk and assignment or any fears of why you don't necessarily options trade, then guys, throw them in the chat. We're going to do the best we can to answer them. And bang, that's it. Are you printing a storm up over there, Katina man? He's short 20,000 on the futures, the Katina man. I sound like Sharif right now. There is printing up an absolute storm, so he's killing it over there. So good job over there to Sean. He's always doing a great job over there. So yeah, guys, if we can just pull up my screen here real quick. We are still talking about calculating these values, right? So these are the terms that make options valuable, all right? So strike price, calculating intrinsic value is very simple. It's not complicated, but even though the terminology may be, we're going to keep the math simple. So option strike price minus current market price. That's your intrinsic value. So when Katina man says he's $1 in the money, so therefore, whatever positions he's in from his average, he has $1 of intrinsic value on that. And extrinsic value, market price minus intrinsic value will equal your extrinsic value. Complicated, we're gonna stop there. We don't wanna make things overly complicated, but just so you know, you guys are familiar with my style of options trading. With my particular style, I am trading options that have zero intrinsic value. They are only extrinsically valuable, all right, guys? So I know this is absolute complicated stuff. Thank you for sticking with us through this presentation. It's been an absolute banger, and I hope you guys learned from something from this today. Because when trading options, they are intimidating, absolutely, right? So we just want to keep things as simple as possible, and then the more comfortable you get with things, the more you're going to be able to use them, right? Use them as another dynamic tool to your trading. And that's what Sharif and I were talking about the other day. You like trading equities? Okay, well now you can add options because now you have a basic understanding of all these things. Capital, NASDAQ 20,000? Yeah, that's what he shorted, as we were talking about before. I thought he was printing more, so he's heavy. He's got his contracts rolling over there, so he's doing a great job. So just putting everything together, puts and calls are a versatile tool that require less capital. That's why we like options. You don't need to exercise your options, all right? Close before possibility of assignment. So if you're shorting options, just close that before it expires in the money. Extrinsic and intrinsic value give their options their value. Sharif, what do you think about today's lesson?
You even have to ask me that?
Yeah, hopefully it was good. Hopefully you guys like it.
Come on now, man. Of course,
stuff,
it's a banger, like all your lessons. But we got to pay some bills now.
We got to pay some bills.
We got to pay some bills. So let's get. Imagine trading with someone else's capital instead of your own. That's what it means to be a funded trader at Trade the Pool. And this is how it works. Complete the evaluation program by meeting profit targets. Once you succeed, you trade the pool's capital, which gives you the ability to trade up to $260,000 in buying power. The best part is you keep up to 80% of the profits while the firm takes all the risk. It's the ultimate way to trade, whether you're a beginner or a professional trader. So go check it out, tradethepool.com. I went over to the website and it looks awfully promising. So scan that QR code or click the link in the description of this video, like right down there, for sign up. So shout out to Trade the Pool, fantastic look there. All right, we're gonna take Mr. Katz off the screen over here. And look, Ram, I set up a dip trade on Donald John Trump to take advantage of that VWAP retracement. Alas, it did not give me the said retracement. It got into 16s. I was waiting, unfortunately for me, at 15s, and now it's bouncing into set quarter dollar. What's going on over there, Katina Man? The Katina Man is 80 dang handles in the money, and this is exactly what's happening on the future, because I haven't even looked at the Mag 7 today. I've been all over these small caps, but this is an ugly top, rounded top. Look at this. We are coming into the IB low right now, guys. The IB low printed at, well, this is not even the IB low because this is 1040. The IB low just got breached, 19,931. Shout out to Dan, the dang man Emmons. We breached VWAP, but we could have support here, Katina, man. There's all sorts of different wicks that we bounced off, 19,925. There does seem to be some initial support at that level. It was also the pre-market top. Look at this in the AM. Obviously, we don't want to put too much emphasis on what traded at 4 and 5 a.m. this morning, but the fact of the matter is, it did, no, I'm talking about this. Ooh. It did find 19,925 as a top, and not for like a couple of minutes, but for more like a few hours. So we're going to keep an eye out there. We're going to shout at the Katina Man for printing up a storm on that, and then we're going to flip to some of these small cap gappers to see what's afoot. All right, so let's, okay, so we just got the fill here on Donald John Trump. So now I need to be careful because I know that the bottom can absolutely come off. I'm going to have to give this a little bit of room. I can't expect, 5, 6 penny stops here. That ain't going to be the move. I'm going to put my stop where it is right there. And then we're going to, I don't want to say we're going to punch and pray, Joe, because I don't like saying that. But it's Donald John Trump.
That's what we're doing. We're punching and praying.
Right?
We love it.
All right, one more thing here before I send it back to you. I'm waiting for 398 on Clove. We are ascending after that specialist breakdown. Again, my only regret, the thing that I'm lamenting the most is not having added at least somewhere on this descent. I would have such a better price, but alas, that is not the case. And TIGR, it breached 9. I'm waiting at 911. Don't mean anything by that, by the way. I'm looking to front run the size there. So we did weasel up into 906. I want to see if we can break through 911. I'll be happy because I'll have printed at that level, hopefully. What do you got?
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, we're in some NVIDIA here. We're going to pull up the NVIDIA chart for you guys. And you know what? The market is overall tanking. Like Apple's down 1 1/4 at this point. Even though the NVIDIA is still a little bit strong, up 2 3/4. Hey, we're going to look to join the trend here with the overall market. And if the overall market is starting to sell a little bit, we're going to look to sell a little bit of NVIDIA. And that's exactly what we're doing. Hey, these guys are, I mentioned before, and Katina Man loved it. Sharif loved it, the darling of the market. Do we always want to be shorting this thing? Nah, not necessarily, but that's okay. Today we're going to, and that's totally fine. So We got a great question from Havana Liddy. I love the name, by the way.
He's an OG in the chat.
Yeah,
by the way,
yeah. So Havana, great question. Joe, can you explain an example of using options to ensure a position in the stock? That's actually, I love this question, Sharif, because that kind of goes back in the way that I'm going to explain it, and hopefully it can relate to you, is the options wheel, right? So when we use an options contract, using the options wheel, so say I were to sell a put and the stock is trading at $100, or actually we'll use NVIDIA as a prime example. NVIDIA is trading at $122. I don't want to own it up here, so I can buy or sell an options contract at $120, and then when the price comes down to $120, I can get the price of what I want regardless of what it's trading at come assignment, because you're selling it. So that's a great question. That's a great question on waiting for something to come to you, and you can do that by selling puts and calls. Reeve.
That's fantastic, man. Well answered there. All right, with respect to Donald John Trump, let me just get to it here. I am going to look to take some profits to account, if again, we ascend, to account for what I perceive to be resistance at the $0.25. We did reject at the time at the $0.25, and then again here, obviously, before we ended up taking it. So I'm anticipating some resistance at 24, so I'm looking at wetting my beak on some profits prior to that. Now, CLOV, I see, is coming down again. Well, no, it's not. It's not 93s. That's okay. No, it's not. It's at 90s. What am I saying? This thing wasn't updating. So we'll have to wait and see whether we can ascend into 98. We are having trouble with CLOV, but I want to see if it breaches again VWAP, because what we know last time was a specialist breakdown because it got bought up quick as you like, quickly, as quick as it fell down. So if that is the case, I need to pack my patience on this one. Now, TIGR rejecting 9. And I'm okay with that. I de-risk the majority of the position here. In fact, I would like for it to reject. I would like for it to come down, big boy over here, near where I'm sitting. I'm sitting in the mid to low 60s. And the VWAP right now is at 58s. So that would be fantastic if we could defend VWAP, and we've done that twice already today on Tiger on 2 separate occasions. We'll see exactly what this one does, but we're going to get back to you with some more Adara at the big desk.
Keeping an eye here on the situation in the market, because we have the Qs getting an influx of selling volume that's continuing to escalate. I am not seeing any news here, guys. What it looks like it could be is just ongoing reaction to geopolitical information, though I have not heard any updates on that situation since those comments we had from President Biden around 10 a.m., basically saying that from what he's hearing, Israel is considering striking Iran's facilities in terms of oil. With that in mind, gasoline futures apparently up more than 5% right now, so it could be a long oil short the rest of the market type situation going on here. Again, this is just my analysis from what I'm seeing. Tesla getting hit, though, particularly hard here. About half an hour ago, we had Bloomberg reporting that its chief information officer, Nagesh Saldi, apparently leaving the company after around 11 years. So TSLA getting hit particularly hard here, but Qs selling, escalating in volume. I will keep an eye on this, guys.
That was jokes, because I thought Adara said Nagesh Salty. But he wasn't. I just thought he was a salty guy or something. Like Darren was trolling him, but no, it's not. It's salty. Yeah, so salty. Not like I have an easy last name either, bro. It's a tough one.
I tried.
I know you did. You did a good job.
Yeah, thanks.
You did a pretty good job.
We'll just stick the first names here, and that's okay. Because guess what, Sharif?
Yes, sir.
NVIDIA is working out. We shorted the strongest stock in the market, and it is absolutely working out. So if we can pull up my chart here, that's fantastic. Look, we took some off the top. And that's okay. If we can continue to the downside, then we're going to hold on to this position. We got about 40% of our position left, but we already took a bulk of it off. If we come off the break even, then that's okay. We don't mind. On NVDA, so flock of seagulls, I did that just for you. So keep showing the love, my friend. NVDA, we're having a good time over here, and we might have potentially bottomed here, Sharif. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, let's have a look at. I haven't been looking at the Mag 7 or the Future at all. Like, I just got to be honest with you. And here we are.
Small cap king. So.
Well, bro, I'm not, but they're in season.
They're in
season, and I won't be convinced otherwise. Guys, we did find some support over here. It looks like on the Future, but we did decidedly, to be fair, I didn't call this right. I said 25s was an obvious bottom. The market, chose to give me, well, the market obviously does whatever it wants, but we did find support at 19,000. I think this candle, in fact, goes to 19,001. It bounces off. So good look there. That 100-point level holds up, and it gave you 50 points quick as you like. So you get that 1901 print, and then the subsequent candle pamps all the way up into 19,950. So we'll keep an eye on these levels, obviously 19,000, 19,025. It hasn't been the biggest day for the future today. By the way, all 4 indices, at least the indices that I cover, are negative. We're exactly the same on the ES and the NQ. Haven't seen these two in tandem in a hot minute. Both are down 0.42, 0.43. The Dow, second worst off, down 0.2%, and the Russ continues to bleed a bit more, almost now 1%, 0.9 negatory for the Russ. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on these small cap gappers. Adara did bring you that IWM update. Shout out to Adara. Donald John Trump is breaking down now into 16. If it breaches 16, that's where I'm gone. It's going to have to hold 16, or otherwise I want zero smoke. You don't want to show this? You don't want to show the breakdown? I'm not sure what's going on over there. So we're going to wait for 16 to see if this breaks down. Here it is. 16 is breaking down. Let's see if the buyers step in at 16. Oh, it's flushing, baby. It's flushing. All right, let's hold it. Well, we're gonna let that one do its thing. All right, CLOV doesn't give me the fill. So it's still zigging and zagging at my entry, not liking this one. Tiger rejecting off 9 again, but I'm okay with that. I'd like it to come down into the mid-60s. EVGO, yeah, it's still having trouble with 6. At least it's reascending towards 6. It did double bottom, it looks like there, off 80, $5.80 that is. It didn't quite make it down, though, into the volume-weighted average price. So CLOV, got to keep my eye on this one as it now at VWAP. Joe.
Hey, beautiful. Yeah, we're just over here. I'm looking over here at Apple. I read a little article this morning saying that Timmy C was looking to dump about 250,000 shares, roughly worth about 50 million, I think it was. So maybe the yacht or something needed some maintenance. We don't know. But he just needed. He just needed. So it's nothing crazy for Tim C. But we're just looking as it continues to the downside, and it's absolutely dragging the market with it. NVIDIA is holding NVDA is holding pretty well, and Meta as well. So we're just going to look. I don't know if Apple will rebound. It's down 1.3% here. So if it bounces, all right, we might look to join. We might look for the reversal, but if it continues to the downside, we're not going to fight it at all. I mean, from a daily perspective, guys, look at it here. Looks like we can have a potential pull back a little bit. I know in the personal we got a condor going, so we don't want this thing going too much lower. If it does, that's okay. Our top side of the trade will always protect us. Hey, and with that, we go to Adara.
Get it, Adara.
Afternoon crypto segment here. We usually take a bit of a closer look during this segment in the morning at Bitcoin. So during the afternoon, I like to take a look at some other coins, stable coins, crypto-related names that are running. We do have here the 7th largest cryptocurrency from what I'm seeing here, Ripple XRP here on watch. We actually did have here an appeal for this judgment with regards to the SEC and Ripple. We had Ripple sued there by the SEC in 2020 with regards to apparently whether or not it could be a security. Apparently they raised money by selling its digital token without registering it as a security. That decision, which initially was in Ripple's favor, has now been appealed. So the fine assigned here for Ripple is $125 million. The SEC was looking for a $2 billion fine. So that fine is under 7% of the initial fine that was being looked for. So not as bad as it could be here for Ripple, but XRP selling off here with that appeal. And as you can see, I have the XRP daily chart up here. This is particularly interesting because actually yesterday we had Bitwise filing for the first ever XRP ETF filing. It's not yet been approved, but that would be the first ETF for XRP after a year full of ETFs for Bitcoin and for Ethereum. We did have XRP breaking through the support area here, pretty strong support a couple times here at this 0.5216 level that we've had some interactions with. So let's see what Ripple does from here. But right now we have 4 days of strong selling for XRP against the US dollar, guys.
Shadira for the crypto update. We'll keep eyes on that. Haven't traded too much crypto. Have you been following crypto today, Joe?
Yeah, not today. Actually, I haven't looked at it today, and unfortunately, like I was telling you before, Sharif, IBIT is my largest holding. Right. So I'm a hodler in Bitcoin. I'm a hodler in IBIT. So I'm just waiting for this thing to break out eventually. It doesn't seem to want to. This thing has been trading in an absolute channel, which we don't like. As you can see, we got our channel here. And it's just not doing what we want it to do. Guys, if we can pull up my chart, beautiful. And yeah, it's just not doing what we want it to do. So we're gonna wait, we're gonna sit heavy. I can't wait for IBIT to become optionable so I can start selling some calls against my position so I can collect some passive premium, right? Like some passive income on the side. And then it will allow me to allocate a little bit more shares. What do you think about the crypto?
Look, I don't have any skin in the game, so I just want to make that very clear that I have no interest in this. But I think it's going to like 100,000, on its way into 250,000. That's just my personal belief.
No, I totally
and I'm
agree.
entitled to it.
And I mean, the longer we consolidate more, if it breaks down, the longer it consolidates, the larger the move's probably going to be. So they can just be accumulating a bunch of Bitcoin or whatever they're doing,
Right.
and then we take that massive move up to 100K.
There you go.
$250,000, it looks like.
And we've seen that happen before.
Absolutely.
We've seen that happen before.
Absolutely. So
apparently, the ISM data today had a lot of relative correlation with crypto. So yeah, that's why I kept waxing poetic about the ISM the other day at the big desk with Brendo. I have to look after to see what how they digested it. But a lot of people were saying when ISM comes in well or comes in above 50 or whatever it is, the standard there, crypto finds a bid. Catches a bit, I should say.
Yeah.
And otherwise, not so much.
Weak,
So,
yeah, so when it comes in a little weak, I guess it goes weak with it. So
fact check me, chat. Am I right or wrong on that? Because I was reading something to that effect. Let me know if I'm out to lunch or if I'm accurate on that. I just want to update you guys on the 4 positions that I've got. We added at 16 on Donald John Trump, but I did move up my stop to account for the ad, so it's all good there. We're going to see if we can wet our beak on some profits maybe in the high teens. We'll put that there. So that's going to have to manifest. Otherwise, we're gonzino. Simple as that. CLOV, right back into my entry again. I'm only holding baby shares, though, because I did wet my beak on some profits. I'm debating with myself whether I should be adding at 88s, double bottom into 85s. TIGR, annoying me, right? Because it's not coming down into my DCA, nor is it ascending, I should say, above 9 to fill me at 911. Best it could do on the, well, not on the day, but since I've been in it, 906 there. EVGO looks like it wants to take 6, or at least I hope, even though we still putting in these lower highs. But we did kind of double bottom a little bit maybe with the neckline possibly being 6. We double bottomed at 580. We'll see if that neckline at 6 wants to get breached or not, or it's just more of me seeing what I want to see kind of thing. So that's the look there. Keeping a close eye on all 4 positions. Nary am I in actually 4 positions at one time, but you traded 8 names yesterday. I feel myself, I guess. I don't know what's going on. I don't usually do this, Joe.
Hey, that's all right. When you're feeling it, just push. Keep pushing it. When you're winning, push harder. Keep pushing harder. So, yeah, we have a great question in the chat from Wes. Is there any value in analyzing the changes in options chain over the course of time? That's a great question. If you analyze how options fluctuate with specific macroeconomic events and even catalysts, that can give you a good idea. It's like, hey, I want to play this, I want to trade that, then do it. So there is no harm done from analyzing the options chain over an extended period of time. We like that stuff. So I'm back in the video. We had a really good trade on the initial one, and I chased it. You know what, Sharif? This might be a punch and pray. So I like that term. We might be punching and praying.
I feel that.
We're hoping that we can continue to the downside on NVDA. So if we continue there, we're gonna like that. If not, then we just get out. It's not the best entry, but if we're gonna continue to the downside, because Apple's about down 1.5% now.
Jeez.
So it's moving. Tim C is just still offloading shares. Maybe he decided to let a little more go, and we'll follow what Tim C is doing. So that's it, Sharif.
Yo, Tim C, calm down over there, bro. Some people got their Apple in their long-term accounts. So take it easy there, Timmy. No, seriously though. Long dead one, says Adara. Get it, Adara.
Dead.
I want to remind you guys, though. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, we joke about called the dead one. Hey, Adara, wave. You're on camera. All right, guys, I want to remind you that we have the afternoon segment with the Big Kahunas. It is called the Afternoon Rundown, and it is nothing without user input. The top 5 names on the rundown make it on, and the Big Kahunas will cover it. If they traded it, they'll tell you how. If they didn't, they'll tell you why or how they would have. So get into the chat right now and vote for your favorite ticker every day. Reliable Rudy, I know you want to hear about ENPH. Don't tell me you don't want to hear about ENPH. Get into the chat, Reliable, and vote for ENPH or whatever you want to vote for. Jay, did you vote today, Jay? Jay Lee, one of the OGs in the chat. Get into the chat today, Jay. You're talking about, the market quadunking, right? So get into the chat, and the Big Kahunas will cover that. Boot Burner wants to talk about the SPY and Devo. How about you throw that in the chat, my man? Big Kahunas will have a look at that for you for sure. And make sure to like and subscribe. If you ever got anything, from this, if we added any sort of value to you, the channel really will benefit from your like, from your subscribe, and your sharing, of course. So we couldn't be more thankful to you guys. And there's only reason why we're here. It's obviously for you guys. Anurag talking about Tesla bleeding. Brandon Townsend talking about oil. Throw that in the chat, my man. See what the Big Kahunas have to talk about oil. Kristen Norman already voted for Tesla. Thank you, Kristen, for voting. Boot Burner also voted for SPY. Thank you for voting, my man. What else we got there? Who else voted? We got FFTB saying Tesla sees 234. Don't you want to see what the Big Kahunas have to say about Tesla? Get into the chat right now and vote every day. Thank you for everybody who's voted, Joe. All right, here we are with Tiger again. Do you ever play Street Fighter?
Street Fighter all the time in the arcade.
Sega, Tiger, uppercut, Tiger, uppercut.
Everything.
Oh, man, good time.
Big gamer
good
back
time.
in the day.
Man.
Great times.
Yes,
That's
Chile Nightmare singing like the actual background music for Sega, right? Yeah.
Sega.
Oh, man, that was so good. You guys play Street Fighter? Of course. What am I asking? What am I asking? Why not?
Saga. What? Is Sonic?
Neil has spoken. He says he sucks. So he sucks.
I was a big Sonic guy.
So what I'm looking at right now, guys, here we go with Tiger, baby. Let's go. I was so close to getting that print. 9:10. I was waiting for that print, Joe. It didn't come in. That's all right. I know, right? All right, what else we got here? How's Donald John Pump doing? Okay, it's holding. We're in the money on Donald John Pump. Get it to Dara, because she always calls it Donald John Pump. Shout out to Dara there. Joe, what are you looking at, my man?
I'm looking at, we have a great comment from Saeed Maoud. So look at BTC, possible cup and handle. We were just talking about Bitcoin. So if you're talking Bitcoin, we like that. Cup and handle, sure. Whatever you see, you may like that. So we like that. We got this channel. But the good thing is that we haven't completely broken down here on BTC. So the longer that we trade in this channel, and then eventually we break the top side of that, we really like that. All right, guys? So we're just going to we'll keep holding on to our BTC position. So shout out to you, Saeed Maoud. And Dara, I think Dara, you're still long Apple, I think she is. So as you can see here, guys, I got stopped out of my NVDA trade.
No?
Oh, no. Okay, no, she's not. So, hey, that's all right. Because I'm out of this. It wasn't breaking down anymore, and any pullback in the market, it's really hard to find continuations to the downside on NVDA when it's not really has no specific catalyst or anything. Just always expect it to catch that bid and move to the top side because it is an extremely strong stock. So don't hold on to those overly long, too long, because you never know what this thing can catch fire at any minute, right? Jensen can drop something. I read this morning that the demand for the Blackwell chip is through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody wants to be first to this thing, and with that is going to become added revenue. And so who knows what the next quarter's report's going to look like, right? These guys can absolutely blow it out of the water. It wasn't as crazy last Q, but that's okay. He still had a beat. It just wasn't those crazy percentage that he had before, Sharif?
No. All right, guys. Dara's at the big desk. What do you got for us, Dara?
Yeah, as we get a little bit of a potential base forming here in the Q, still in a downtrend, but finding a bit of support potentially at this 479.50 area with these candles to the upside. It is worth noting we had Fed's Goolsbee making some comments here on the dock workers strike in this interview here, saying that this strike was, quote, predicted, and so retailers have been stockpiling, so potentially some relief here with regards to the strike. So Goolsbee also goes on to note that, quote, after 2 weeks about 2 weeks of stuff. After that, we'll see more of an effect. So after these retailers run out of what Goolsby is estimating to be about 2 weeks of, quote, stuff or supplies, then these retailers might be in trouble. So maybe some potential relief. Some of the concerns in this market with these comments on the dock workers strike in actually like not scheduled from what I can see here, comments from Feds Goolsby, guys.
Who'd you use in Street Fighter? Who's your guy?
Yeah, you know what? You
Guile?
put me on the spot, buddy. I'm more of a Mortal Kombat guy.
Mortal
I was just more of
Kombat,
an
okay.
arcade guy.
Get
right? When you were a
over
kid,
here.
Yeah, get over here. And Sub-Zero. And
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero was my
Scorpion?
guy. Scorpion was my guy, but I was Sub-Zero all day.
Neil's
I was
loving it.
Sub-Zero. Like, Sub-Zero was my guy, right? So, yeah, I would use him on everything. Yeah, absolutely.
Love
So
it.
I was a big Sub-Zero guy.
Yeah, man. Those
we
are good times.
Yeah, we love it. Good times video gaming and stuff.
But if you had to play Street Fighter, who's your guy?
You gotta give me. I don't know the guys, man.
Oh,
you gotta
no?
give me. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You put me on the spot.
Ryu, Ken,
Ryu. Okay,
Guile.
okay, yeah. So who was the blonde-haired guy?
The blonde hair, that's, there's two. There's Ken
Was it
and Guile.
Yeah, Ken. Yeah,
Hey, Andre's
So
chiming in.
So
I'm
Ken
loving
was my
this
guy.
over
I just
here.
got put on the spot with that. I would play it at the arcade, but that's okay. But Mortal Kombat is what we game. So.
I love this. Look at this. Go Explore 777 Dowsum. Ooga Fire. Ooga Flame. Right? And then he would disappear. It's like, yo, where you going, bro? I thought you were over here. And then he'd show up behind you, Joe. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
So, hey, Street Fighter,
Dowsum.
Mortal Kombat, those were our games. We like to play them, so yeah, we play a little of that.
I love it, man. The good times today. I tell you, that Big Smile's around here. Where's Big Smile? Come on, Big Smile, we missing you. I think he's taking some time off, so we're gonna shout out Big Smile, even though he's not around with us today. The dude is the dude's solid. By the way, done with my Tiger trade, Fabian. Very happy with this trade over here. The only thing I lament not having added at the volume weighted average price in and around 60. We'll look to do better next time. Now, what's the look here with EVGO? It's lulling me to sleep because it is unable to ascend over 6. However, it is still well above VWAP, so I don't want to take this out, and I've got a dip trade to shadow VWAP. So I'm going to leave everything just like it is right now on EVGO. I'm done with Tiger. CLOV back into 91s. I'm okay with this trade. Where am I in? I'm in at 88s on CLOV. I'm a little ambitious in the sense that I'm looking to take out this high before I wet my beak. Now, we know for certain that 394 was a level of resistance given how much chop and churn there was around there. And I got to tell you, I was watching said level 2 at 394, Fabian, and it wasn't breaking through that level. So I'm a little concerned that if we weasel up into 394s or the 3 mid-90s, that we do meet some more selling there. So I am cognizant of that. Donald John Trump. I added at 16 to defend 16. Now we're weaseling back into 14s. But here's a look. We gave up VWAP when we dipped into 16. Now we're kind of using VWAP as resistance. That concerns me. So unless we curl and then curl back up, rounded bottom, and then decisively take VWAP, I will likely cut everything at $16. I don't want this to bleed because this could be that umbrella handle pattern where we just momentarily pop up and then back down to make a new low, and I don't want that smoke, especially because it's below VWAP right now. So that is the look here on DJT, and we're going to nurse these trades, hopefully extract some more profits, Joe.
Hey, beautiful stuff. Yeah, great question in the chat from Wes. I'm loving your questions today, Wes. What software tools can we use to analyze the options chain on a specific equity? Perhaps see history of changes in the Greeks. That's great. So unfortunately with options chain history, once the option expires, it's tough to see that stuff. But whoever your broker is, see if they have options data, join them, see what you can use. So there's multiple different types of brokers. So whatever broker you feel fits you, then go with that. And the chances are of them having an options chain will be there. And then that way you can start collecting your data. So that's really great stuff there. As of right now, Sharif, I'm still long the TQQs. I mean, we were selling a little bit here. And we'll see if we can move up towards VWAP. If I'm trying to grab a knife or a falling knife, I'm going to look for the move back towards VWAP. They don't always happen, and that's all right. So we'll just sit here and wait. We're not in too much size, so once this stock starts, or once the ETF starts to move in our favor, we're definitely going to add, and then we're going to look for that move back towards VWAP. Meta, it's not really doing what I expected it to do, but again, it had such a strong move to the top side, so we're going to pull up Meta here for you guys. and it just needed to cool off. I mean, it would always be nice if stocks can just continuously go up. I really like what Meta's doing right now, so maybe I'm gonna dip my toes in the water a little bit here and get a good feel of what it's doing. If it continues, then that means we're just continuing in the strength. So we're gonna join this meta trend. If it breaks this resistance level at 579.78, then we're gonna join that Adara.
We have some more support coming in here on the futures. I have the Qs up right now here, the NASDAQ making a slightly higher low here as we get more comments here from Fed Goolsbee doing an interview that was actually not here on our Fed schedule, saying that, quote, 25 basis points versus 50 basis points cut is not as important as getting rates down over the next 12 months by a lot to get to neutral. Fed Goolsbee has also previously said last week as well, following, of course, the FOMC decision of September 18th to cut rates by 50 basis points. We had Fed Goolsbee previously saying here as well that really what matters is cutting, quote, by a lot over the next year. So Fed Goolsbee again saying that the amount is not as important as the fact that rates will continue to be cut. So some sentiment here to be aware of as we get more comments from Fed Goolsbee, who again, to just reiterate what I said earlier here, also mentioning that the dock worker strike might not be as big of a deal for the market as anticipated, at least for the first 2 weeks, guys.
At Adara. All right, guys, while Adara was updating us there, EVGO did breach 6 for the first time in a hot minute. But once it ascended, Fabian, it got into about that 605, 604, and then it's breaking down below 6 again. But I'm okay with that because it put in a higher high, a local higher high, and it also put in a local higher low, 580. We talked about that 580 double bottom. Now, if it breaks below 590 again, I'm going to stop trading this as a breakout trade through 6, and I'll range trade it. We'll see. We'll see what it gives us, but I like the fact it's above VWAP. It's up 53%. I have a DCA planned on it. I don't think it's going to go filled. I think it's destined, I should say, to go unfilled at 570. Zigging and zagging right now with 6. Good look, but let's see what we get. Donald John Dang Trump back into 13s over here, knocking on the door of VWAP, but the door keeps getting shut in his face. Come on, Donald. We need more. I need 18s, my man. Get in there. Don't sell. You said you weren't going to sell. So, no, I know, right? I'm just putting the dude on the spot. He has no idea it exists, right? But here we go with Donald John Trump up again. I'm looking for 18s, baby. I'm starting to see some more buying over here, but every time we ascend into 14s or 13s, we are certainly met with some selling there. So I think we should pack our patience. I like my entry. I like where my stop is relative to my entry as well. So packing the patience there. CLOV, boring me to death. Fine with that. Okay, here we go, EVGO. I'm waiting, baby. I'm waiting at those 8s. Can I get those 8s, Joe? I got it, Joe. Bang! All right, happy with this trade here on CLOV.
From like right when we first started?
Yeah, well, I got in, I got back out. Yeah. Been trading this over and over and over. I like
diamond hands.
Nah, man, more like paper hands. We need a paper hands animation.
Oh, we do. Maybe
we got the Katina man.
Katina man got the diamond hands.
He got the diamond hands.
Diamond.
Katina man, when I was back at home and you would hit that, I would go like this.
Oh, yeah. Diamond hands. Diamond.
The Katina man is long NVIDIA 121.50. All right, so keep your eye out on the Katina man's trades, Fabian. And I should probably let everybody know that we have a second channel. It goes by the name of More Trader TV Live. It's an information-only channel. There you go. You got the Katina man's longs right there. You got Neil's positions there. He's short Intel and Amazon, long Google. And look at the plethora of information that we got on there. Adair takes care of all that, Joe.
She is an absolute rock star.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So she's killing it over there. We got something in the chat. Joe, can you look at FXI? And you know what? We're going to look at FXI because Jose in the back, him and I are working on something. Shout out to Jose, first of all, because him and I are working on this type of algo where we want to play gap fills. And I mentioned to him this morning, Yin, look at the potential gap fill on this. So this is FXI, the China large cap ETF. This is absolutely great because we were talking about this earlier today. So this thing, in my opinion, we might be slightly overbought. You can see the volatility, the ATR on this thing has gone through the absolute roof. I mean, China's in play, so we don't want to fight those things. And I'm going to continue to say those types of things, like don't fight the trend. But when things are this extended, hey, maybe look for a little bit of a pullback. But just make sure that you have your outs defined. Otherwise, you might get squeezed, and you don't want to get squeezed at all. So put in your stop orders. I mean, we have an isolated pivot all the way at the top here with an isolated volume signature. We really like that. But that also might signal that there might be some pullback and that we might fill in this gap here on FXI. So that's my look on FXI. I mean, wait, let it pull back a little bit. Wait for the price that you want on it. Maybe if you have the capital, sell some puts on it and look for the assignment if you're cash heavy, right? So if you're looking to own the stock for the long term or the ETF for the long term, and you have a little bit of capital on the side, wait for your price to come in, maybe sell some 32 puts and wait for the price to come to you. So that's the look on FXI. So yeah, we're in Meta. We tried Meta a couple times and it wasn't really working out, but we're in it again and we really like our entry at this point. We broke 579.80 there. So hopefully we can continue this trend to the top side and hopefully make a new high a day. If it makes a new high a day, then we really like that a lot. I mean, the mega caps are starting to pull back in a little bit. Apple's somewhat recovering, still down 1 1/4, but that's all right. AMD's up 1 3/4, and Meta's moving, continuing to grind to the top side. So we're going to continue in this strength. Maybe we add a little bit. The volume is starting to pick up, and that's what we like to see as we continue to move. So the Qs are recovering. We're in both of these, so we'll look at the Qs position as well too, because that is working out as well. Katina Man, he's in NVIDIA, I think, right? Katina Man?
The Katina Man's, yeah.
He's still in it. So, okay, money. So we're in that. We're going to look to take a little bit off the top here on
the Katina Man's positions are right there. I just wanted to mention everybody, Joe, thank you, yeah.
So we're going to look to take a little bit off the top here on the Qs. Beautiful. We took some off the top here. We got some nice size on it. So we're going to hold on to this. We're going to hold on to Meta. Maybe we squeeze back towards VWAP. What are you looking at, Shreve?
Bro, I'm happy. I'm in a good mood, Joe.
Ooh.
I got the print on EVGO right there, breaking through the top. So now we're done with this trade, but obviously true to form, Joe. Paper hands extraordinaire as it weasels up 15 more pennies there. Now we need to get back into EVGO. So that's a look. Donald John Dang Trump. We took the print there. We're printed nicely. We're like 20 pennies in the money on this name. It weaseled up into the $0.25. I'm happy with this one. Thank you. Appreciate you, Katina Man. Now I'm looking for it to hold 14s. It had a whole bunch of selling at 14s. The only question for me is, do I get at 14s if it breaks, or do I add into 14s? So that's going to be the question I ask myself. I don't want to have a resting order there quite yet because Donald John Trump is the king bamboozler. Well, I'm talking about the stock. Calm down, everybody. So what I want to see, whether or not there's going to be some bamboozlement there at that level. So I'm just going to pack my patience. I have a big, let me see, before I misspeak. No, I've got a bigger, I've got a couple of more outs here on Donald John Trump. So we could definitely wait a little bit more to see exactly where this one weasels up to. The other trade that I'm disappointed in myself about is Tiger. Executed well on it, but look where it is. It's 15 pennies higher. So I definitely should have been adding on these drops, and I need to improve with that. If something is trending, I need to take the entries on the pullback. So I look to improve there, but I'm cognizant of it. Hopefully I improve a bit more on that. But yes, Tiger on the way up, guys. Great double bottom off VWAP. I'm loving small caps today. Look at this double bottom over here, and it almost looks like a rounded bottom off VWAP, doesn't it? It's just that beautiful shape. It just gives you...
That was beautiful.
Yeah, man. It gives you entry number 1. If you miss that, Joe, you can get entry number 2 over here, and then we're basically knocking at the high of the day, which is 927. Yeah. So fantastic look for Tiger. Clove, you know, I think maybe the best move is behind it, but we're going to pack our patience again because I really want to make the case for the VWAP hold high of daybreak type trade. This is kind of what I'm talking about. Big move up, consolidation sideways above or at VWAP for the majority of the midday when the volume is lower. And then when the big kahunas come on, we rock it up when that volume comes in. That's the ideal play. Who knows how it manifests, though. EVGO is still going, guys, but having trouble with the $0.25. 625. A bit of resistance level on CLOV. SMR is the trade that I missed. Okay, I had a long on this one, and I was wrong on this one. and then I had the opportunity to take this one short. I kept delaying. This was a mistake. SMR was a fantastic short. It gave you one opportunity, breaching the 10 exponential on the 5, and then it basically respected the 10 from there on in. That was where I got long. So I was bamboozled because it breached the 20 by 3 candles over here. So, I mean, I don't blame myself too much for that trade, but obviously we look to improve nonetheless. So keeping my eye on these bad boys over here. Want to see if Donald John Trump wants to weasel back above. DJ Mix, let it snow. I guess snow's doing something.
No, let it snow.
Yeah.
Let it snow.
Dude, you know what I just said to Brendo this morning? Let me put some context in that for you. We are closer to Christmas than the beginning of summer. Even though it's 24 degrees out there, Celsius, people.
Don't break my heart like that. I mean, I like winter. I'm not really a winter guy.
I don't mind winter.
Hey, if we could cut the duration of it by 2 or 3 months, then we might like it a little bit more. But yeah, other than that, guys, we have a great question from FFTB for the boys, maybe. We'll see. Joe, what do you look at when choosing your weekly contracts? That's a great question. I like that one. I'm always keeping an eye on my delta, right? So you don't really need to keep too much of an eye on theta because you know that the contract's going to decay over time. But delta, I always keep an eye on my delta because this can also be used as a percentage metric of where this option's going to expire. So for the boys, I hope that answered your questions. I keep an eye on delta, and that's just something that I always kept an eye on. So yeah, we're gonna keep doing that. I have another question. Can I confirm my price on the TQQs? Absolutely. That's exactly where we're in at, and we're gonna look to take a little bit more off the top here. We kind of rejected VWAP and put in a inverted hammer doji there, and that's hence why we may be pulling back a little bit more. So we have some topping tail candles with the rejection of VWAP. So guys, that's just really
the Katina man shorting the market.
Reshorted
the market.
So he hammered that VWAP trade. Money. So we're just moving.
Dude, when I was a viewer on the show 2 years before I even set foot in this place, right?
Yeah.
I would be in the chat just harassing the Katina man. But Katina man,
drop the money.
It's 3 hours deep in the show. I haven't heard the money
that's
once.
My favorite. Me and the boys, we drop that spin it. So we like that one.
Of course, bro.
Guys, I just want to emphasize a little bit on just the importance of cutting trades when you're supposed to cut trades. And you can see here on the TQQ, that's exactly what we did here. Imagine I was still holding on to this trade. That would not be fun, right? That'd be an absolute hefty loss, and we don't want to do that. We just pack our patience, hold our horses, and then we wait for another precise entry, Sharif.
Yes, sir. All right, just set up a beak wetter on Donald John Trump. Keeping my eye on CLOV, though, because I've got to nurse this. I've got baby shares here. I'm break even on it, but I don't have a DCA. So what's my plan? Right, if I don't have a DCA, what am I waiting for here? Am I waiting for this high VWAP hold high of daybreak, or am I going to range trade this? So I need to be a bit more strategic about how I'm dealing with my position on Clove right now. All right, we're going to talk more about my my lack of a plan on CLOV when we get back from Adara. She's got money talks.
We're going to take a look here at the US dollar, not changing too much on the daily chart. So I said, let's take a look at the weekly chart. There's a couple of reasons I want to do this. For one, we are ending a 4-week losing streak for the US dollar by trying to make it again. We have not closed the week yet. But right now, attempting to make a pretty intense bullish engulfing candle, engulfing not just last week, but the last 4 weeks of price action here for the DXY. There's another reason I wanted to pull up this chart, and that has to do with the fact that we're getting non-farm payroll data tomorrow. So the last non-farm payroll data we got, we're going to be getting September's numbers. If you do recall, when we got these numbers here at the end of July for the July print, that is when we had that big drop in the market, which was called the Black Monday on August 5th. Those numbers came out the Friday before that. We come back and the market does a bit of a drop that Monday. So this is going to be those 2 weeks there for the USD. This would be the Friday that we got those numbers. Then the next week, a bit of a doji candle for the DXY. So interestingly, we'll have to see what this does tomorrow, depending on what the NFPs give us. We're going to get those at 8:30 a.m. The mean estimate, according to FactSet, is going to be 140,000. If that's actually what we get here, an increase in NFP by 140,000, that'll be a slight month-over-month decrease, and it'll be below the trailing 12-month average here of 196.5. So let's see what we get here for tomorrow with the NFPs. Just wanted to contextualize how this could move the market by showing the DXY weekly chart, guys.
Very much for that, Adara. Joe, have you ever dabbled in the FX market?
I've never traded Forex.
Neither.
No.
Same.
I mean,
I did it one time when I logged into my when I set up, I should say, my brokerage.
Yeah.
And at the time, you needed to convert your Canadian.
I was going to say, other than that, that's all I've really
I was
done.
like, how do I do that? He's like, you have to do a Forex trade, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do that no more, though.
No. You know what I did do, though? I would hold a little bit of USD, and I remember just before we had the rate hike cycle, and I'm in there owning USD, and I'm like, whoa, why is my account doing so good? But it was the pump up as interest rates went higher.
I remember that.
The value of the US dollar joined it. So we have a great question from Neil Rob. Joe, do offside / put call ratios affect how you look at a potential position? That's a great question, because like put to call ratios can also determine which way the overall market or Wall Street is looking at to move a stock. So if one outweighs the other, then hey, look to join that. Don't fight that. If there's more puts than there are calls being bought, then look to join and say, hey, look, where am I going to short something? Why is there more puts being bought than there is calls? So just do that little small type of analysis, and that can help you really determine whether the position you're looking to put on is the right position, or maybe you should just somewhat adjust your strategy. Sharif.
Yes, sir. Donald John Trump is getting, there is obviously a seller at 24. So that's a double top now, Fabian, that we've gotten into 24s. Here we go again. That's going to be a triple top now if we reject 24s. Obviously, guys, on the 1 minute, when I say that, what you're always looking at on my screen will never be different. The white charts are going to be the minute. The black charts are going to be the 5. Always that way, never changes unless I say otherwise. So right now, that's going to be a triple top on the 1 minute on DJT at 24s. So let's watch what the tape does. As you can see, we're looking at the book on 24s. Very, very light volume. What does that say to you? Or sorry, light size sitting on the 24 level. So what does that say to you? That means it's likely a hidden seller, an iceberg order. We talked about that yesterday. If you joined us for the level 2 lesson, we talked last couple of days actually about icebergs, and we reject again, coming down to 18s. So there is certainly somebody selling up a storm at 24. And then look at this. So now we're a little bit lower. Last time we were rejecting 25s. Now we're rejecting 24s. So you need to be cognizant of these little things here, especially with a name like this, because the bottom can drop off. You just need to kind of try to put the odds in your favor that you kind of pick up on the winds of change before the real flood comes in. No pun intended. I know that we just had a hurricane. I don't mean it like that, okay? So 395 here on CLOV. I've been looking for this level to break. Why? Because kind of like what I was just saying about DJT at 24s, we have a seller on CLOV at 94s. And you could see that that took place plenty of times over here where we kept rejecting a 94. Now we breached it. We went into 95, but then we got pulled back right into 94 again. So somebody selling, possibly up there, reinstituting their shorts or taking more profits, whatever the case may be, something's afoot at 94 and 24 on DJT. Let's look the other one that I've got over here. Oh my goodness. Look at TIGR just go, bro. Broke the high of the day, Joe. This is not a small cap gapper, mind you. TIGR has been on my fintech DeFi watch list for years and years and years. It's a fintech company. It's a $1.4 billion market cap. It's traded 42.5 million shares on the day. And I just want to give them the float super quick, 66.8 million shares. And let's find out what the short float is. TIGR, shout out the Nos boss and his crew over there. About 3% of said, well, I'm seeing 120 million shares on here.
This is fantastic.
Oh, yeah, that's all Nos boss stuff right there, man. When he was here from the Maritimes, he helped me set this entire thing up. The dude's a champion, bro. Yeah, clearly. So that's what we're looking at there, Joe. Not much doing. DJT hasn't broken out. CLOV hasn't broken out. Those are the only 2 trades I've got left. We're going to nurse them because we only have about 25 minutes left on the show, my man. So what are you looking at?
No, I'm looking at TQQs. We're still holding this position, but like Sharif said, we only got 25 minutes left. Guys, we went through a lot with the option stuff, so just make sure before the end of the day that you put your questions into the chat, and we're going to answer as many of them the best we can, all right? We have a couple on the horizon, but first I just want to touch on what's going on with the overall market, the Qs. We're starting to pull back a little bit. We're rejecting kind of VWAP, which could be a little bit alarming. There is no definitive topside trend, so this could be a potential pullback, and that's fine. But you could be like, hey, Joe, look, the volume's increasing. You always look for the correlation between price and volume. We are increasing a little bit. So with this dwindling, hey, maybe we punch a little bit. Come 2 o'clock, we get that volume to step in. But we still got a good amount of our position on here. So we're going to hold this, especially if it goes for the break of VWAP. So just to touch on for the boys, last question, what's options premiums and how does it influence your trade? Oh, okay, so perfect. Great question. Very simple. So an option premium is either what you paid for that contract, either $1 times 100, so $100, $2, etc. So that's the premium. Even in reverse, so in a premium, when you receive it, it's still a fraction or whatever you want. You still have to multiply it by 100. And how does that influence my trade? Well, it also depends what system and strategy you're employing. For me, with credit spreads, I'm looking for something around a fixed income. So all the contracts values are roughly going to be worth the amount about the same, right? So I'm not going to sell something that I don't collect a lot of money on because it's not worth it. The risk isn't worth it. So that's how you would imply the premiums, and that's what premiums are, Sharif.
I love it, man. That's some solid foundation there. And like something that I've always want to hear more about, options. You hear so much about this and how it really is another quiver another arrow in your quiver to have in the trading game. Absolutely. And I've always felt like I've been lacking a specific piece of knowledge. I put it on my resolutions on the beginning of the year. I didn't get to it. Hopefully I'll put it on again next year.
Like you said, we're closer to Christmas.
We are, bro. We are, bro.
So with Christmas comes New Year's. So
exactly.
There you go.
Right. So yeah, hopefully I'll do it this time around. All right, guys. I did de-risk a little bit here on DJT because I didn't like what I was seeing, Fabian, with that double top at 24. So I took some out there. I'm only holding a little piece now. We're gonna have to see if this one wants to weasel back up. I'm disappointed for not having taken it at 24s, but I didn't know that it was gonna reject. So that's okay. The other trade that we've got, CLOV, still knocking the door here of 94s, despite the fact that we've got above it a few times. I'm still waiting at 98s on CLOV. It's not the same directional type trade that we had yesterday. Something was afoot yesterday. I really need to show everybody CLOV, the 15-minute, because when I was at the green screen yesterday and we were talking about CLOV, look at this, bro. This is not. This is the 5-minute on CLOV yesterday. It's not like that today. Clearly, this is a buy program. It doesn't break the 10, Joe. We got to 4 o'clock and it didn't break the 10 exponential.
That's a trend.
That's a trend. Look at the 15, even prettier than that, man. I mean, Ob loves the 15.
Not a red candle.
Not one red candle.
That is crazy.
Fabian likes it. What'd you say, Fabian? You said it in a way I couldn't really discern what you were saying, but it sounded like you were being quirky. So shout out to the Chilean Nightmare, man. Killing it. So that's a look today on CLOV. Those are the 2 positions I have left. I'm sorry, guys. I have not been trading the Mag 7 today. I've just not been interested. I'd like to be able to, get some small cap trades, stay sharp with some of these because, you fall off super quick if you're not always on the ball with these bad boys. So I started off my life as a small cap trader, and I like to dabble every once in a while. When you're on the big floor over here, though, and you got the big kahunas next to you all the time, all of a sudden the big caps, the mega caps, become part of your vocabulary super quick. And especially being on the floor over here, man. A lot of mega cap traders. Guys, I want to talk about one mega cap super quick here. AAPL. It just weaseled into the 20 and it put a bit of a double top rejecting the 20. This is an interesting short, especially if we give up 24 again. We could weasel down into 223 and a third. That's plenty. We could even see lower, maybe even 220. Who knows what kind of bleeding comes in today on AAPL. The market taking advantage, obviously, of Timmy C selling up a storm. It wasn't just him, too. A lot of other execs were selling, too, by the way.
Oh, so there you go. So that can have some to do with the selling.
No question about it. And, hey, by the way, guys, it was part of a plan. So let's not point the finger too quickly here at Timmy C. He did file a plan with the SEC to sell those shares, so it wasn't novel for the market. But, yeah, obviously, no one likes to see insider selling. What Neil says, and I think what he talks about actually is quite apt, is he wants to be made known. He wants to know about insider buying. And if you guys want to hear about insider buying, somebody from Southwest Airlines today, an executive, was buying up a storm 3 million shares, I believe I read this morning on LUV.
It's called Nancy Pelosi.
You know that there's a
We'll
the
call
Nancy ETF?
Yeah, well, that's
Do you know what the
absolute
Nancy
thing.
ETF?
I'm buying it. Tell me what it is. I will
Right
buy it.
now,
for
I
the
will
long
tell
term.
you.
Tell me what the Nancy Pelosi.
You ready to pull
ETF
this
is.
up?
So-
NANC.
Okay,
Profound,
there
right?
we go. There we go.
Profound.
So we're in Nancy right now. No, I'm joking. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but we can talk about this, Fabian, because this is trading related. Nancy Pelosi's husband. You heard about this?
No, I haven't.
Sold Visa one day before the FTC or the DOJ said they're going to investigate Visa. The dude's the best trader out there, bro. There is no better trader.
Wow, that's absolutely insane. So
Just
we got to
saying.
get in with the Pelosi's somehow. We get them on
Just
the show.
saying. Yeah, exactly.
We'll
Right?
get them in on the show. Yeah.
You think Nancy would come on the show?
Hey, you know,
I'd
we
invite her.
Hey, it's where's Kathy and JP? I know me and JP got a one-on-one game coming up soon.
Goes without saying, Kathy's always invited on this show.
That's it. So we got a really great question from Hal R, and I really like it because he's been paying attention to everything.
Bang.
So guys, make sure you have your pens and your papers and you take notes of this stuff and go back and watch what you need to watch. But I know Hal R has been paying close attention because, Joe, I know you like 0.1 deltas for a credit spread. Does it matter if the stock is up or down when you place your order? Absolutely it does. I mean, we still want some leeway room with when we create credit spreads. We can be a little bit wrong, but for the most part, we still need to stay aware from an intraday perspective of when we're going to open these trades, right? Because if we're looking to employ a bear call spread and the stocks are really strong, we don't necessarily want to do that because if we get squeezed out, we can be in and out of the position really quick. You can place your order and then be stopped out not shortly after. And vice versa goes for the lower part, right? If you create a bull put spread and the stock is absolutely tanking, you can get absolutely stopped out really quick. So precision on your entries still matter. Even though we do have leeway to be room, Hal, our great question, we still want to have a little precision on our entries.
Love it, man. And I love stirring controversy. It's kind of like a little, it's exciting. And when you talk about this, everybody comes out of the woodwork, I feel, that doesn't usually comment in the chat, and they got something to say, and I like that. So maybe
What do we do?
maybe we should mention a little bit more.
Stir the pot a little
Yeah.
bit more, maybe.
A little bit. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I love how people have strong feelings, and that's good, man, because if you have strong feelings behind something, you're more likely to have some conviction behind it. So have at it. And I respect everybody's opinion, whether you think that I'm absolutely wrong or not. Hey, absolutely. Just let me know what you think. And it gives me the opportunity to remind you guys one more time that the afternoon segment is nothing without our viewers. Please get into that chat right now. You've got 5 minutes left. Fabian, just give me the countdown. Exclamation point, the word join, then hit that space bar, then shift 4 on your keyboard, or if you're typing on a cell phone, however you're going to do it. And then the ticker of your choice, throw it in there. The Big Kahunas take over in about 15 minutes, and only the top 5 names make it on, and they'll look at it for you. They'll tell you how they traded it. If they didn't trade it, they'll tell you how they would have. So get into that chat right now. We're already seeing people talk about it. Stan, IP, he wants to talk about NVIDIA. Thank you for joining, Stan. Jorge Alvarado says Tesla keeps rejecting the 20 EMA in the 5-minute chart. I love how you're thinking, Jorge, because that's my jam right there. Get into the chat, Jorge. Vote for Tesla right now. See how the Katina Man or the Neil traded it. How about Michael Benitez talking about Lace? You know who's advertising every morning on CNBC? A nice 30-second commercial? Lace.
Lace.
Yeah, man. You know they make counter drone measures, and now the
I've
new
never even
war.
heard of Lace before.
Bro, I don't even want to get into what some of the stuff I'm seeing on TikTok.
Stuff? Yeah, it's absolutely
Yo,
crazy.
the war's changing from these drones,
You
man.
don't want to be
I don't
a
even want
man
to get
on the
into
ground.
it. No,
I
bro.
don't think so.
It's scary stuff what I'm
scary
seeing, Joe, on
stuff.
TikTok, man.
Absolutely,
Because TikTok
absolutely.
doesn't filter that stuff. It just comes through. Anyway, so this Lace company, Joe, they're making counter stuff for TikTok. Get into the chat, Michael.
Get in there.
Yeah, vote for Lace. See what the big kahunas have to talk about. Northwestern Canopy Development. Where are you buying PayPal? I ain't buying it.
I ain't.
But maybe the big kahunas are. Get into the chat. Vote for PayPal, my man. See what they have to say about it. Every day we take those top 5. The Katina Man is back. He's got the drink. He's got the caffeine. He's ready to go, baby. So get into the chat right now and vote for your favorite tickers. Donald John Trump back up to the 1/5 of a dollar. I'm still waiting. possibly at 30s or whatever. We're long O2, so I'm just going to pack my patience. Joe, what are you looking at, brother?
Hey, I'm looking over here at TQQs. I'm looking for another possible entry on this market. I mean, we've been zigging and zagging a little bit here, so that's okay. So if we decide to go a little bit higher and make another additional leg to the top side, then we're going to join the trend. As you can see, we got stopped out break even, and that's totally fine. We were making higher lows here with the continuous secondary trend here. So we hit our target, and then we got stopped out a bit of our position. It wasn't too much. So that's exactly what we're looking for. We got a pretty good entry here. As you can see, the trade didn't come that far against us, and we hit our target. We took the majority of it off over here at VWAP, and that's what you want to do. Hold some of your sides to where you want to go, right? And so that's what we're looking to do. So if TQQs pulls back a little bit more and we continue to the top side, I mean, Meta's still going to the top side. AMD's recovering a little bit. I'm not sure what NVDA is doing because I'm not keeping my eye on it. I want to stay honed in on some specific stocks, and that's what it is. But as for questions, options questions, guys, they've been fantastic. It makes Sharif and I know that you guys have been paying attention, and that's exactly what we want.
Bang,
Sharif.
bro.
We want that stuff. So we have a great question from Ross Henson. On a similar note, what is your risk-reward ratio and typical delta? So ask how R, he was paying attention. Typical delta is 0.1 or less, right? Giving us that 90% probability of expiring out the money. In the first half, what is my risk to reward? On credit spreads, your RVR will always be skewed, right? Because of the probability of profit is vastly higher, it's not always going to be a one-to-one, right? So with the 0.1 delta, that means you're going to be right about maybe 70 to 80, 90% of the time being the higher end. But if you're right 70% of the time, you stick to a system, you have, you're going to be wrong 3 times, so then therefore you're right on 4 of them, and that will hopefully increase your equity curve, and it will move you to the top side, Sharif.
I got to share this with somebody because there's no way I'm keeping this to myself. Fabian just said to me in my ear, he's like, what noise does the NQ make? Whoa. What sound does the Q, Q, Q?
Yeah, Q, Q, Q.
I can't ever unhear that.
That's it. Okay, well that's
that's going to live in my head.
Yeah, we're messed up for life now.
Thanks, Fabian.
You're welcome, chat.
Appreciate that, brother.
Everybody.
Appreciate that, Fabian.
We need stuff like that.
Tesla's bleeding, bro. We're selling off aggressively here on the Cybertruck TSLA. All the Mag 7s, without exception, are off the lows except for one.
Oh.
You know the ticker. It's TSLA. It's printing lower, Katina Man. 238.45. The Katina Man's short, and he's been short. He's like, yo, bro, you don't have to tell me. I already know. Yeah, it's printing lower, bro. We just broke below that 239 decisively now. I would say weaseling down more, 50 more pennies. It looked like we had been holding 239. Well, we did at 1 o'clock, worked our way back up into 241 and reject off the 20. Somebody there, I think it was Michael Benitez, saying that we were rejecting off the 20, and more accurate you could not be. Look at that topping tail candle right into the 20, and then it rejects quick as you like. It didn't even have to wait for another 5-minute candle to form. No, the subsequent one gave you that drop quick as you like. So Tesla been bleeding up a storm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna try FSD today, or not today, Saturday for the first time,
Wow.
FSD. So I'm going to Yorkdale.
Okay.
We're gonna do a full self-drive kind of tour ahead of the robo-taxi event. You know what I mean?
Okay. So are you gonna sit in the passenger seat?
No, bro. I'm gonna sit in the driver's seat. So they let you test drive the cars. So obviously trying to sell, right?
Okay.
So I got a text from the guy today, and he's like, "Look what he said." So, which I found to be really good customer service, by the way. I scheduled it online.
Yeah.
The dude texted me. He's like, "Hi, Sharif. This is Brendan from Tesla. We're excited to see you. Yada yada. Let me know if you have any questions or you'd like to book an earlier date or you want anything specific." So I messaged him back. I'm like, "Hey, Brendan, I'll be in on Saturday to test drive specifically. I'm looking to test drive a car with FSD, not just autopilot. I want FSD, baby. Can we arrange for that?" He's like, "Sure. We'll be happy to show you a full self-driving on the Model Y." So that's the first time for me, dude.
First time.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of pumped out about it.
First time for a lot of things, I guess, all the time. First time. Well, it's not the first time that Tesla missed on deliveries, unfortunately. And Sharif, the market is not perceiving it very well, is it?
No, man, it's not. It's not. Certainly not. And I think that maybe people were worried about China weakness, but now we're getting this China pump. So if we get the China pump, does Tesla get that next boost? Kind of like Apple, right? We were worried about Apple iPhone sales in China because China was a little bit weak. So if we get the China pump and They send out those stimmy checks, man.
Send
$1 trillion yuan,
the
man.
stimmy out. Keep doing those rate cuts over there in China. Because if you boost Tesla, then that means you're boosting our pockets. Tesla's in my long-term portfolio. It's not my biggest holding. It's one of my smaller ones. But hey, anytime Tesla's moving to the top side, the thing's an absolute volatile asset. But as you can see now, the market isn't really perceiving it very well. So they're going to continue to the downside. We thought that, hey, maybe we would break these highs. And I was expecting that. I think if they had a really strong beat on Tesla, that we were going to continue to the top side and then eventually break these highs right here. Unfortunately, we did not. So we're going to wait for a little bit of a pullback. I mean, who knows? And now that you look at it and we zoom out, we could be potentially double topping here, which may not be the best sign. I mean, FSD is out on the 10th of October or something like that, Chief, I think?
Well, FSD's out right now, but we're talking about a legit robo-taxi.
Robo-taxi, yes, sorry. Robo-taxi on the 10th is coming, so we'll see. I wonder if those will be in Toronto. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were in Toronto, just cause a little more traffic because that's all we need. And then, yeah, so the market doesn't like it right now, but it won't take much for Tesla to catch a flame.
Jabroni's Pizza. Great question, brother. I mean, you're coming on to some macro stuff here, and it's good. I want to read out your question. How is Tesla going to get the product or delivery cars while the ports are on strike? Come on, guys. Wow. You're not wrong, brother, but I don't think that's Tesla specific, is it? And you also have to understand that a lot of the components for Apple, for Tesla, that stuff that's not made in the USA comes from the Pacific. That's the West Coast. We don't have an issue with that. We have a problem with the East Coast. So keep that in mind. I would submit to you it's more of a European issue. The stuff coming from Europe, the stuff coming from Africa, right? Anything coming off the eastern seaboard. So I don't know. And by the way, do those ships divert, go into the Panama Canal, and then go north on the Pacific to go to the West Coast to divert? Because obviously if nobody's working on the East Coast, so I'm just spitball in here. Let me know what you guys think. By the way, DJT worked up to 1624, and again, we rejected at 1624. So I've got a little bit sharage left, but I'm going to wait till 28. Halar, Joe, you two guys are a fantastic source of education, and I thank you both. No, Hal, we thank you, brother, for joining us today, man. We could not be more pleased that you joined Joe and I today. Joe dropping hotlines about options.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Hal R because we know he's been paying attention, right? So, because he's been asking legitimate, specific questions. So that's exactly what we want, guys. Just pay attention, write down the notes, go back, review everything, right? And that's how you get better at things. We're looking at AMD right now. I think we're going to join the trend here on AMD. It seems to be wanting to recover a little bit, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to dip our toes into this here, get our feet wet, wet our beaks. I don't have the beak wetter here.
It's there. I promise you it's there somewhere.
It's somewhere.
Which one is it, Adara?
It's not plugged in right now, but it's okay.
Oh, so, you got to load it up. Just type in stream in the search. So in Windows, yeah, type in. There it is. There it is.
Stream
there.
deck.
Just
okay,
click
we're
that,
not,
baby.
There
you go.
We're gonna wait a little bit here. So maybe.
Oh, it's working.
Maybe we're back here. All right. So yeah, that's good stuff. We're in some AMD. And yeah, Halar, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for the love, brother.
Does Canada have an eastern port? Freight is rail. Oh, you're absolutely right. There's a huge port in Montreal.
Massive.
Huge. So I think, yeah, that could be an option as well. I didn't think about that. Good thought about that. Guys, Clove is up to 397 here, Ram. I've been waiting for 398. Do I take it out here, Ram, or do I wait for 398? Take it out. She says take it out. We don't go against Ram. Well, we do, but it's okay. We're taking it out there. Shout out to her. Adara, people want to know if you still say please this punch. She does, baby. She says please. Ram. See where it went now? It went to 398. I'm not listening to you anymore, Ram. Because I would have printed 398s there. Shout out to Ram.
Oh, Ram.
Adara's always defending Ram.
Did you say long Ram? Yeah, we're long Ram.
Donald John Trump also, Joe. It took out 24s. It weaseled into 27s, but true to form, I'm waiting at 28s, so it's okay. We don't get the print, but it did break above that 24 penny level, which it had been unable to break for since basically, what time do we get above that? 12:50, so it's the first time it's doing that in a hot minute. So we'll see if this one wants to continue. Keep your eyes on Tiger, though, guys. I would submit to you, this is the big boy runner here in small caps. It's only up 16 and a quarter right now. It's not even technically a small cap, but let me show you this pattern, baby. It's very, very nice. Very beautiful pattern, printing highs, 940, predictable retracements off the 10 exponential, and it wants to take out that top, Joe. So TIGR has been a dang rocket all day.
Hey, good stuff. Yeah, great stuff over there from Sharif. He had an absolute monster, beautiful trade on TIGR there, and that's what he does. He kills the small caps, man, and that's what he's good. You know what? And that's just a good point to stand on. Sharif likes the small caps. He's good at the small caps. So he sticks to what he's good at, you know what I mean? And that's what we want, right? So we just want to stick to what we're good at. We want to continue to rinse and repeat. We want to refine our systems, and that's how you get better in trading, right? Trading is, we all know, everybody's been here for a long time, is that it's not the easiest at times, is it? No, and it gets a little bit stressful. But if you just stick to things, find a great trading buddy. I know we all have great trading buddies, and you guys work on things, and bring your trading buddies onto the chat. We're going to learn new stuff all the time, and you guys will learn and grow all the time as well, too.
What are you going to have for us next week, Joe, on options? Any ideas?
Part two.
Part two, I love it.
Part two of Introduction to Options. So with this one, we're just going to go over the Greeks. We went over a couple of the Greeks, but we're going to go through all of them again. This time, we're going to go through all 5 Greeks, yes, and we're going to do that. And then we're going to go into all the different strategies that we can employ with options, right? Going from beginners to intermediate to advanced. We're not going to delve into these too much, but we're going to touch on the style of trades that these are, debit or credit, and why traders like to employ these. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Guys, make sure you show up for part 2 next Thursday, options for beginners. All right, guys?
Can't wait for that, man. That is going to be next Thursday. Sateo will be on tomorrow. We all know the new schedule. It is Joe, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sateo, Wednesday, Friday. Taya's on tomorrow. We're going to be doing that, so make sure to catch that. She's not going to be doing a crypto lesson tomorrow, or she's not going to be doing a lesson, tomorrow, but she's going to be doing one next Friday. So anybody who wants to hear Sataya drop hot lines, you guys liked that lesson last time. It's not tomorrow, but next Friday she does the lesson, so we'll keep an eye out for that. All right, let's have a look at DJT. Okay, here we go again. Up into 27s. Can we cross into 28s? I think I should just probably take it out here because I think we've got 2 minutes left on the show. Let you know that Clove is moving up as well. So that VWAP hold high of daybreak trade on CLOV looking a lot better now as we work our way back into $4. We know that the trade, the ticker is 403 high. We're awfully close to it right now. I think the top comes off likely sometime during power hour once the big kahunas start dropping hot lines. So we'll keep an eye out on that. EVGO looked good. But what I got to say is I need proof that this is going to continue to make higher highs because we still don't have that next higher high. We got higher lows and we stagnated, maybe even with that double bottom there at 580 that we talked about. But I need to see it come back in and try to take out those highs. It hasn't done that, Joe, not since we were in it anyway. INDO, I want to leave you with this. Fabian, sorry, INDO is in play. It's also doing a similar look to that VWAP hold high of daybreak. But if I had to choose, I think this one may give up the ghost because it spent more time below VWAP than it has above. So that's my look there, Joe. 1 minute left on the show. Leave him with some thoughts.
Hey, with some thoughts. We have a good comment in the chat. Fajitas all day, every day. Shout out to my girlfriend. She said that in the chat. She's a fajita monster.
Did you see the spread back there?
I can't wait to go back there and see what the boys were eating up there. But other than that, guys, we learned a lot through options today. Thanks for sticking with us. We learned about risk. We learned about intrinsic, extrinsic value. I can't even remember everything that we learned today. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining us, and that's it.
All right, big kahuna time. Take it.
What up, everybody? Every time Sharif says big kahuna time, I just get hungry because I want a tasty burger.